Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
Information
Tell the truth.
is power.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Information is power. You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
What's up, everybody? Let's do it again. Everybody, let me know if you can hear me. I'm going to explain to you what just took place. I am definitely pissed off. So basically what happened, in a nutshell, as I take this off here, is YouTube sent me a community warning, or they didn't even give me a warning or a strike, but they took down the video claiming that the video was invoking some type of encouragement of danger to people. I don't know what the hell they're talking about, because I was about to get into the ins and outs of mental health. If any of you thought that I was saying anything that was reckless, what do you think? YouTube doesn't want, let's just keep it real. They don't want us to give a black perspective on this thing when it comes to mental health. I think the S word that I just used, that's a word that they don't want people to say on YouTube. Matter of fact, when you do videos about mental health and you use the S word, they demonetize those videos. They put restrictions on them when you're talking about the issues of mental health, when people can take their life because of their mental health problems. Why wouldn't they want us not to talk about these things to figure out a way to help people? They treat all channels are not treated the same equally. Now, let me read you the bullshit that YouTube sent me. Of course, they say you can fight. I don't have a strike on the channel, no community warning, but they took it down, which I think was bullshit. Now, check this out, ladies and gentlemen, and Black Men Unfiltered and all the brothers out there, come on through. We're going to have a discussion. Hi there. We're reaching out because members of the YouTube community, including fellow creators, viewers, or staff, have expressed concern for your safety or well-being after coming across content you posted with topics related to suicidal and self-harm. The Stephen Twitch boss left suicide note. DJ Twitch may have had post from. Now, look, I didn't make that up. The news reported that. That was reported in the news. I don't see them taking down any of the videos that the news put out there saying that the man left some kind of note. I didn't make up anything. Those channels are still up. Those channels are not being having the videos taken down. If you are someone experiencing suicidal thoughts or self-harm, know there is help. I was going to talk about that, you dummy YouTube. I was going to talk about that. I was going to give out the 998 number or the 988 number. I was going to give encouragement. I was going to give professional statements here. But you dummy YouTube, you took down the video because you don't want a black man or us to give a black perspective about what's happening to black people when it comes to this. So I think what happened is, I want to say this. I think what YouTube did is that in the title, I put trauma at the end, although he said that he was dealing with, I said, may have is not emphatically, may have is not saying yes, he did, but you do associate people taking their lives or dealing with depression. You do attribute it to some form of trauma that's happening in their life. Now, all I said up here earlier is I said depression, and I broke down how depression works and how it can affect people. YouTube is sitting up here writing me a note as if they were concerned that I was going to harm myself or something. It's ridiculous. Know there is help and you're not alone. It's not uncommon to turn to thinking and self-harm as ways to cope with painful emotions. My video was not about me feeling suicide. YouTube is stupid. Their algorithms are stupid. It's like they thought I was going to do something to myself. They're crazy. Information Man Show, we wanted to let you know that the team viewed your content and we think it violates our self-harm policy. That's crazy. I didn't tell anybody to self-harm themselves. I didn't say I was going to self-harm myself. I was about to educate people on the issues of mental health as it relates to the S word. And I was trying, as you all heard me, to say that we can't always assume because someone is smiling and they look happy that everything is okay. That's what I was saying, dummy YouTube. YouTube is dumb. I know the team reviewed your content and we think it violated our self-harm policies. We know you may not have realized this was a violation of our policies, so we're not applying a strike to your channel. However, we removed the following content from your YouTube from YouTube videos. Time occurred, you can see it's craziness. It's just craziness, folks. So they want to give me a timestamp to look at, but then the timestamp don't work. We realize this may be disappointing news, but it's our job. It's our job to make sure YouTube is a safe place for everyone. Was there anything that I was saying, ladies and gentlemen, that was unsafe for all of you in the chat room? Did I say anything about, did I glorify it? No, I was about to explain why how it affects people. We was about to educate people about how this affects people. This wasn't setting up here glorifying the S word. This wasn't about glorifying what happened to brother Stephen Twitch DJ. I was about to set up here and I was giving a summary like everyone else about the circumstances in which they found him, and to explain to how you can't always assume that people are okay because they might have a good job, high paying job, or they might be dancing, they might have a family and kids. You can't assume that they're okay. My video today was going to be an outcry for what's happening to black men and the black community. I was only going to use Twitch as a baseline example, that we need to use his situation as an example as to what can happen to any and all of us. This really pisses me off. Can you all believe what YouTube did in their BS? Now, I can fight it. I can argue it and say, hey, but it wouldn't make a difference if I argued it with them and they brought my video back up, because why? My video is incomplete. They cut me off in midstream. Those of you who came back over, thank you. I will drop a link for people to come on the panel. I particularly want guys to come up so we can talk about this issue. So what I'm going to do is, there's always one way to beat this game. I'm not going to use the word outright. I'm going to say the S word. And you know what I mean by the S word. And I'll stick to words like mental health. And definitely I will use words like depression, because depression is a part of this component. I'm simply saying to people out there that if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling down, you've got to reach out and get help. I'm simply saying that if you have loved ones, people that you care about, you need to look at the symptoms and signs. Now let's go into it. Let's go into the educational component of my program today. As you can see, I had to title it, because I think the title is what also got me in trouble with YouTube and their bullshit. But let's go into the statistical data. This is educational. Such bullshit. This is the way I just think that YouTube doesn't want us to address. They don't want us to address real issues. You can go on YouTube right now and listen to people who have big channels talking about these issues, and YouTube has not taken down their video. Now, what I wanted to get into with you, everyone out there listening, and I appreciate you being here, is I want to say this right here, as you see on the screen. As in the overall United States population, suicide death rates for men is more than 3 times the rate for women in black populations. Suicide death rates for the overall United States population is approximately doubled that of the black population for both males and females. So what I was saying earlier and what I was going to get to is that suicide is a very serious thing that's increasing within the black community, and we need to recognize that and get help. We need to talk to our loved ones. We need to let people know that they matter. We need to mend all differences that we have with family members, because you don't know if they're here today and gone tomorrow, because mental health is a serious thing. Now, Twitch boss said, and that was reported in the news, I didn't make this up, that he was struggling with challenges. And of course, we know that the wife said that he had left the house. She ran to the police and said it was out of character for him to leave the house and leave his vehicle and to not answer his phone. And of course, they found him at a motel in Los Angeles, I think the Oak Tree or what have you, and a maid, it was reported on the news, allegedly on the news, that a maid went into his room and saw him deceased. And then it was reported that they believe that it was a gun, a weapon that he did the deed. He took his life with. I said earlier, and this is not encouraging it, that there's a difference between how women and men go about harming themselves when they do this. And it's a terrible thing. Men do it in a more violent way and women do it in a more passive way. Let me give you another statistic here. This is about what's happening to the black community when it comes to this whole thing around the S word. Among black populations, suicide rates peak during adolescence and young adulthood. Then it declines to age 85 plus. This is different. This is a different pattern than is seen in the overall United States population, where suicide rates peak at age 45 to 54 and start a downward decline until age 74, and then incline starting at age 75 through age 85 plus. Now, this is one that you're going to find interesting. What I'm basically saying is, when it comes to Stephen DJ Twitch boss, what I was saying is, we don't know, and I'm saying this allegedly, this brother could have been suffering from mental health problems or something that led him to taking his life for a very long time. It could have started when he was very young in his youth. It could have started when he became a young adult and he started taking on the pressures and stressors of life. We also know that, like I said before YouTube rudely interrupted the damn video before they did a proper assessment of where I was going. We know that he started his career on So You Think You Can Dance, where he was discovered, and then he became on the Ellen DeGeneres show. She gave him his big shot. He was a DJ. Then he led himself up to becoming an executive producer on her program. And you see this smile on his face. And what I was saying earlier before YouTube rudely interrupted the damn video is that you can't assume because a person is smiling that they're 100% happy with their life. Even if they have a child, a daughter, a son. He has a 14-year-old daughter, which I said, I don't know how this is a violation. A 14-year-old daughter that is the adopted daughter or the daughter of his wife's prior relationship. And I think Twitch boss adopted her legally as his daughter. He has a 6-year-old son and a 3-year-old daughter. She may be older now. I don't know. But there you see him on the picture with his family. I also said that I'm not really concerned about people's personal issues around him being married to someone of another race, because this issue is bigger than who this man is married to. Because even if this man was black, even if this man was married to a black woman, you still have black men that have taken their lives when they're married to the same race. Now, is there a better understanding that when you are married to a black woman as a black man versus someone of another race, that they may have better understanding about what you go through as a black man in society when it comes to racism, when it comes to certain stressors that we deal with as black men? Oh, yes, I would agree with that. That a black woman who is struggling herself in the same way that you are as a black man in terms of dealing with some of those social ills that we deal with in our society, racial bias, racism, prejudices, I'm naming them all, biases towards us. We're being racially profiled and things of that nature. You just had a young black student at Winston-Salem College, supposed to be at HBCU college, and you had a white teacher, and I'm going to get on that story too next, who had her arrested around this issue that she wouldn't apologize. These are the stressors that we deal with. Things that can happen to us that doesn't happen to other people, right? So you can still be married to someone of the same race who understands your plight, but it doesn't mean that it will negate your emotional stability to want to say, I don't feel like living anymore. People go through this all the time when they're dealing with stressors. My goal with this video, YouTube, you dummy, is to encourage people to get help when they are struggling in this way. You dummy YouTube, taking down the first video before I can get to the meat of the damn video. Now, let me read this to you. This is very important. Among high school youth, a smaller percentage of black youth report serious considering attempting suicide or making a suicide plan in the past year than the overall United States population. So that means that we have black youth who are considering these things, and we have to figure out as a community how we can prevent this from happening. Meaning right now, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a daughter, if you have a son, how often do you talk to them? How often do you sit down with them and understand what they're going through? How often do you have a real conversation with your kids? Because these mental health issues that can lead to one having ideations that they want to take their life can start very, very young. It doesn't have to just happen because you're 20 years old or 30 years old or 40 years old. This could lay dormant or lay in you early in life because you may not have been able to deal with some issues. Twitch boss said, ladies and gentlemen, that he was dealing, according to the reports in the news, that he was dealing with challenges. We don't know what those challenges are. We don't know if this man allegedly had trauma from past childhood, trauma from what it was going through. We do know that the wife reported to the police authorities that they had no argument, because I know people are jumping on that bandwagon. She said they had no argument. There was no friction that day between the two, according to the wife, Allison. We have to understand how depression works in people and how it can affect you, because you can feel like I said, you have situational depression. And situational depression is when you get, which I was trying to say before YouTube took the video down the first time, you dummy YouTube. Situational stressors is when you get bad news. One day you're happy, you get bad news. You go to the doctors and you get bad news that you have a terminal illness. That could bring on a certain level of stress that can lead to unfortunate situations. You get bad news. You find out that a family member has passed away. Something tragic has happened in the family that could turn your emotions. We're all born with a different level of temperament, basically how much pressure we can take before we bust. Everybody is different, no matter what race you are. One person can take on certain stress at work, certain stress in their family life, certain stress in their personal life, certain stress in their finances. And another person can't take that stress, and then they could pop. Some people don't have proper coping skills to deal with the stressors. Now, and I was on Black Man Unfiltered show the other night. And I did send you a link, brother, if you're out there listening. I sent you a link to your IG. I sent you a link to your email. And I'm going to drop a link in the chat room. I was on his show and we were talking about this. Coping skills are things that people do to decrease the depression and the possibility of you getting to a point where you don't want to live anymore. Coping skills are very, very important. And I just wonder if Twitch boss, when the Ellen show got canceled, I wonder how much of that show being canceled. Because when you have a job or something that you enjoy doing, or a coping skill that gives you something to live for, some purpose in life, something that can keep you out of going into that dark hole of hopelessness. Just maybe, and I'm speculating allegedly, I wonder if when you saw him dancing, you saw him smiling, It could be one or two things. People sometimes wear a fake mask over their face. They'll put on a facade and they'll look happy when they're really dying or hurting inside. Or people will find some peace in something that they really enjoy doing. So when you saw him dancing and smiling on the Ellen show, I wonder if that being on that show as an executive producer and being involved in that could have been a good coping skill to help him deal with the other issues that he had going on in his mind emotionally. And I just wonder, allegedly, if the show being canceled could have any ramifications on him losing something that he held on, that helped him, which is it gave him purpose, getting up, preparing for a show, preparing to produce a show. I'm saying that allegedly, because coping skills can help us from going to the deep end. And I just wonder how much of that show being canceled and all the controversy around the show in terms of people saying that Ellen didn't treat the staff properly. I wonder how much of that played a role in his challenges, as they claim. He left a note claiming that he had challenges. That's all I'm trying to say here. YouTube, don't take the damn video down. Let's go back up in here again. I want to read something to you, very important. Since 2017, and hit a 7 in the chat room if you can hear me clearly. I thank you. And BS3 Network, my man Ben, this is what happened, brother. The first video that I broadcast got taken down by YouTube. They claimed that it was encouraging something negative, which was total BS. So I had to rebroadcast into. So if there's any kind of way you can take the first video down, which is this is the second video that I'm broadcasting with my time that I have into Roku. If there's any kind of way you can take down the one that kind of stopped in midstream, take that out of there, brother. And I appreciate you, BS3 Network, for being here and your full support. I really appreciate that. And let me go ahead and do this.
You are now tuned to BS3 Network. BS3 Network is now on Roku TV under BS3 TV. Network. Download today. Changing the way you watch TV.
All right, everybody. So let me get back to this because I will have a panel to bring people up. 2017, suicide has been the second leading cause of death in those 10 to 19 years old. Rates of suicide amongst Black youth have risen faster than any other racial ethnic group in the past 2 decades, with suicide rates in the Black males between 10 to 19 years old increased by 60%. Early adolescents, Black youth are twice as likely to die by suicide as compared to their white counterparts. Understanding and changing this trajectory, this tragedy, changing it, stopping it, will require transdisciplinary efforts, including those of educators, child welfare, legal and juvenile justice systems, healthcare professionals, including child and adolescent psychiatrists, in the community at large to stop this trend. The United States Center for Disease Control and Prevention reported that a decrease in the 2019 suicide rates from 14.2 per 100,000 individuals in 2018 to 13.9 per 100,000 individuals in 2019, representing 833 fewer suicides during that time. This is the first national year-over-year decrease since 1999. But, this is a big but, ladies and gentlemen, but efforts need to be considered in terms of trends among subgroups. What are those subgroups? Growing concerns regarding the increased rates of suicides among Black youth lead us to examine subgroup trends over the past 2 decades. Ladies and gentlemen, tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
I hope you understand where I'm coming from, and thank you for coming back to this video. YouTube really pissed me off when they took it down. They really hurt the momentum. But I think they did it on purpose because they don't want us talking about this. They'll let the other channels talk about it. It's okay, but don't let Information Man talk about it. Let's stop. We know what he's about. We know he's trying to educate and wake up his people and empower his people and bring up issues. We got to stop that. I bet you if I was on this channel saying the N-word and arguing with somebody and going back and forth and talking destructive and cheesy and getting into the male and female battle of the sexes talk, YouTube would have pushed the damn video through the algorithms. But now I'm talking about something very important and they want to take the video down. The first video that I went up. Now we're going to the second video. Looks like we're going strong right now. So we're going to keep this going. I appreciate you all being here. Let me give some shout outs to some folks in the chat room. We got over 50 and Fabulous in the house. Yeah, I was going to talk about that. The 988 number. There's a 988 number, which is if you feel someone is at risk or yourself is at risk for some self-harm, you can now call 988 and get in contact with someone for intervention when you are feeling like your life is at ends meet, right? You can also text that number as well. So I'm going to put that back into the description of this video because YouTube took down the other video where I had all that stuff nicely put in there. But this is what I'm going to do. There's one way to skin a cat here or to beat this game at their own efforty, but here it is right here. Ladies and gentlemen, help is available. You dial 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, or you can text it SMS 988 and you can chat with someone if you feel that you're in crisis personally or you know someone that is in crisis. I just want to leave that up there for you to see that for the moment. This whole thing, so as I was saying about DJ Twitch Boss, you can't go by the smile. You can't go by how much money he had. You can't go by the fact that he had a family with kids, because usually one of the things that people do when they're feeling like they want to take their life is they will begin to shut everything off on the outside, meaning nothing else matters anymore. And usually when people do commit the S, they don't normally tell you, I'm about to do this so that you can stop them. They just go ahead and do it just like he did with no warning sign. You can be around people in your family that are super happy and you think everything is going right for them, but maybe it ain't going right for them, because maybe, just maybe, we need to start calling our people, calling our family and friends, and we need to say to them, how are you doing today? And just because that family member appears to be strong, appears to have it all together, they might just be the ones who are falling apart the most inside. As I was saying before, depression is nothing but anger turned on yourself. That depression can spiral down and lead you to a point where you feel like you don't want to live anymore. So it is very important to get a handle on our depression, to get a handle on proper coping skills. It's important to contact a psychological professional, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, and get help. It is important to reach out for help and not be in denial. In the Black community, we are in denial of mental health. We may say, well, I had an uncle, I had an aunt, that's crazy Uncle Charlie, that's crazy Aunt May. And they just, they was just touched by something. Uncle Charlie, he would drink Johnny Walker Red. Aunt May would be grouchy every now and then, but that's okay. Some of you growing up might have gotten spankings and just said, well, and you had family members that were very volatile and aggressive. How do you not know that they were suffering from something? And they might have taken it out on you. But you just think that they were touched by something or that they just was like crazy uncle, whatever. That's just how he is. No, they might have went undiagnosed or untreated for what their problems were. And maybe they were just crying inside. Within the Black community, we are heavily in denial of these mental health issues because there's a stigma, especially for men, that if you go see somebody, that makes you weak. If you reach out and talk to someone, that makes you weak. But then when we look at the sexes, women live longer than men because in general, women are more involved in getting their checkups and talking to each other about their health issues and being verbal about it. Men, we suck it in, no pain, no gain. We go forward and then we die prematurely before we're supposed to. Mental health is a serious thing. If you know someone right now, talk to them. Ask someone, how are you doing today? As Black men, we asked this very fundamental question when I was on Black Men Unfiltered channel, which is, does anyone really care about Black men? Does anyone care about our health, our mental status, and what we're going through? And I say to you, we as Black men need to give a damn about what we're going through. We need to talk to each other. We need to be an intervention for one another. We need to stop getting into this whole thing about it's not cool or macho to go get help. You could be a functioning depressed person, meaning a functioning depressed person is someone who can go to work, pay their bills, but they're still not happy, right? A dysfunctioning depressed person is someone who might be clinically depressed, which means they need clinical counseling. They might need medication. They may need to see a psychological, because I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist. But a psychiatrist prescribes the medications. A psychologist is someone who's trained to be able to give you psychological evaluations. Now, I know where YouTube probably got me because I gave an example about what happened to a child. I'm not going to say that again. That might have been what triggered the whole thing. I have a background I've worked in mental health. I worked in geriatrics care. I worked with youth and I've been in group home settings. I've been in settings where kids have been kicked out of regular schools, where kids were not feeling their best. So I can see how you can grow up as a child and have these issues and it can follow you through your adulthood if you don't get proper help, proper counseling, proper treatment. Now, it's not always, people always say, well, the medication is not good for you. I think the most important thing you need is counseling. There are some people who do function better when they do get some medication versus people who get no medication. Then there are people that are over medicated, allegedly. Then there are systems where they want to try to medicate your child at an early age. And you as a parent have to stand up and say, wait a minute. This is a very serious issue. Very serious issue. And as I said earlier before, having someone or being married to someone of the same race can help you because they can know what you're going through from a racial point of view. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you're married to if you're struggling with something that you've never been able to deal with. And I know that men, we hold a lot internally that we need to deal with, that we don't do a good job of dealing with. And this situation is right here And I want to thank Black Man Unfiltered for sending me these sliders. I took the sliders and I was able to break them down in this way. Black boys and black men and suicide. Tricia Douglas, psychological. She's a psych doctor, and we went into these areas. These are the areas that we deal with. Facts about black boys and suicide. Self-reported suicide attempts for black adolescents rose by 73% between 1991 and 2017. Black boys increasingly likely to attempt suicide than black girls, who have more ideations than attempts. So black females actually have more suicidal ideations than black boys, but black boys have by far more attempts, ladies and gentlemen. Black boys are engaged in more lethal means when attempting suicide than black girls, which has increased by 122% between 1997 and 2017. It is the year 2022, but it's still something that is still relevant today. Black boys are twice as likely to die by suicide than white youth.
Tell the truth.
Facts about black men and suicide. In 2014, 80%. I know this is not a look, ladies and gentlemen. I know that this is not a sexy topic. We got 93 people watching when we really should have tons of people over here. I know it's not sexy. It's not as sexy as the topics that I've talked about on this channel in the prior weeks. It ain't as sexy as me going in talking about the Deion Sanders topic. It's not as sexy as me talking about Shaquilla Robinson, because that was very controversial what happened to her. I know it isn't sexy, but it's the damn truth.
Tell the truth.
Because the reason why we don't want to watch this type of content in general, because it means that we have to look at ourselves in the mirror and ask ourselves, are we getting the help that we need for our own mental health? Do we need to go see someone? Are we assisting in the process of helping a family member who is struggling with these things? So it's not sexy. And Real Aaron Collins says, thank you for keeping up to date with these major issues in our community. This is from the Real Aaron Collins. Thank you, brother.
Thank you for the super chat.
Real Aaron Collins gave me a super chat. So let me go ahead and put this up here. I am going to have a panel in a little bit. Still pissed off by what YouTube did with the first video that I did. And thank you, Aaron Collins, for the super chat, brother. Appreciate that. Jay Shine, Randoms is in the house. Reps is in the house. Over 50 and Fabulous is in the house. Army Vets in the house. Jill Chocolate Boutique is here. Empress Goddess is here. Barvis is here. Real Aaron Collins. All of you. Oh, I got my man CBN Tech Talks. What's going on, brother? Sir A. Jones is in the house. Cooking at Pam. I love cooking at Pam. Make sure you check her out on TikTok, Instagram, and she also has a YouTube channel. Cooking with Pam. I love it. I love that you're here. I love your support. I haven't been to your YouTube channel in quite a bit, but I will be back over there. But I really appreciate you. We got Justin in the house. Adrian's in the house. What's going on, sister? We got my man Scam Lightly is in the house, bringing the dust in. What's going on, brother? What's going on? Jay Shines, who is a supporter financially of the channel, give him a lot of kudos. He supports this channel behind the scenes. We've got Big Dog Philly OG. He's got a channel as well. He supports me every time I go over there. Give him some shout out and love as well, and support his channel. He has a channel. Sister OG is in the house. Patrice, what's going on? Patrice. And we have the intelligent soapbox in the house. Thank you. We have right here, JJ, the enlightened one. Thank you for being here. And DJ Chuck is in the house. Games Drink is in the house. Thank you for being here. This is very, very, very important. Earlier, if you weren't here earlier, when I first went live, YouTube took the other video down, then I had to redo this video again. And I looked at the video and I said, there was nothing in that video that I said. I think it was just too real what I was saying. So I'm going to stick into the academics of this all, of this all. And after I get through this little portions, I'm going to bring a panel I'm going to bring a panel of people up here. Particularly definitely want brothers up here today, because we're the ones who need to be addressing this issue, because we're the ones dying from this kind of stuff. So right here, ladies and gentlemen, typical signs of suicide. Talking about suicide, for example, making statements such as, I am going to take my life, wishing I were no longer here. I'm trying to, got to work around this YouTube BS. Certain words you can't say because it triggers the algorithms in a negative way. Or I wish I hadn't been born. So people who talk like this, these are risk factors. Getting the means to taking your own life, such as buying a weapon or stockpiling weapons, withdrawing from social contact, wanting to be left alone. These are warning signs. Having mood swings, such as being emotionally high one day and deeply disencouraged the next day. Being preoccupied with death and dying or violence. Feeling trapped or hopeless about your situation. Now, could these be some of the things that Trish boss DJ was fighting with? Allegedly, who knows? It could be. He did leave a note saying that he was dealing with challenges. Increased use of alcohol and drugs. Change in normal routine, including eating and sleeping. His wife did say that it was unusual for him to leave the house without his vehicle and unusual for him to not answer his phone.
Tell the truth.
You may say, well, why would he do this if he has a child? That's his 6-year-old son there. When you are so far gone in your depression that can lead to you doing something like what he did, you're not thinking straight. Or are you thinking about the people that you're leaving behind because you're in so much potential pain internally that even if you're happy with having kids and a wife, that might be, it may make you happy in that aspect of your life, but there may be still something void in you that you have not been able to deal with and get over, some insecurity within yourself internally, some internal battle that you're dealing with. Doing risk or self-destruction, things such as using drugs or driving reckless. Giving away belongings. I said that giving away belongings is a big sign when people say, hey, I don't need this anymore. I don't care about my car. I don't care about my family anymore. I don't care about my house. I don't care about how much money I have. If you notice, when he left the house, he didn't go to a fancy motel or a fancy hotel. And they said that he was found. We're talking about Stephen, DJ Twitch boss. They said he was found in the bathroom, that he used a firearm. But in all of his pictures, you see him smiling, but deep down in the psychological core, in psychology, we have this thing talk about when we go deeper into like what you call psychotherapy, when you break the layers of a onion, check out an onion, ladies and gentlemen. Onions have deeper layers upon layers upon layers. So in psychotherapy, the goal is to get into those deeper layers of a person's psyche to figure out what's going on with them. So So in the top layers, he looks like he's a happy guy with a family and he's got a great career. But if you go deeper in the trenches of those layers of that onion as you peel it, there could be some very deep pain and depths there that we may not realize or even know about. And this is something that black men are going through. All men deal with this, but I'm talking about black people in specific because it's increasing with us. Saying goodbye to people as if they won't be seen again, and developing a personality change, or having severe anxiety, or being severely anxious or agitated, particularly when experiencing some form of warning signs listed above that I had just talked about a few minutes ago. Let's go right here before I bring a panel of panelists on to talk about this issue in an intelligent manner. Signs to watch for in black boys. Remember I said earlier that this could be latent in a person when they were even a kid, when issues are never addressed. And in the black community especially, we have a habit in the black community of not addressing mental health problems. We are sometimes in the black community in denial of mental health problems. Oh, that's a lot of times in the black community, we'll use religion, our belief in God, in Jesus, and all those sort of things. People who are religious will use that as a medicator to our issue. So if I just pray to God, it's going to go away. If I just go to church and talk to the reverend, which you should talk to a religious counselor if you are a religious person, but even a minister or a preacher is not trained to deal with psychological problems in the way that a psychologist or a psychiatrist can, who is trained, unless you happen to have a religious clergyman who is trained in those areas. But in the black community, we do one of two things. We will ingratiate ourselves in religion and reading the Bible and saying that's going to make it better. Sometimes, like other groups, not just black people, we may engage in substance abuse, drinking alcohol. If you got I know some of you out there right now may have family members who drink a lot. And you keep saying, why is it that my uncle always drinks every damn day or every weekend after he's had a week of work? She or her, an aunt, an uncle, an older brother or somebody. Why? Or my grandfather. Why is it that on the weekends or whenever they're always getting drunk? Because they might be medicating themselves with alcohol and even marijuana so that they can forget about the things that they're painfully dealing with, that nobody wants to be honest about. Signs to watch in black boys: withdrawal. If you have a young black male or a young black male in his 20s or adolescence, beware of withdrawal. They tend to become more withdrawal than the usual, meaning withdrawal from everything. They don't want to go outside. They can't sleep. They don't want to play with their toys. They don't want to go play basketball like they used to. Or if you got an older friend and he don't do the same routine like he used to do, those are warning signs. Or at least talk to him, brothers. Mood changes. Unable to express emotions rather than avoid school, sleeping more often. When you sleep a lot, and I tell guys in my work capacity, you can't stay in your cell and just sleep all day. You got to get out to the yard. You got to do some exercise, because when you sleep all the time, your depression will continue to spiral down. The more active you are, the more you can boost your mood and get yourself out of that depressive funk, potentially. But it takes work. Change in music. Watch for lyrics. Change in his music. Having difficult in school. Change in the child's music, meaning what he's listening to. Is he listening to stuff? Now, I'm going to be honest here. Within the black community, we've got this damn drill music, this damn gangster rap music. And I'm sorry, this drill music and this rap music, it's poison. It is poison.
Tell the truth.
because it's putting out vibrations about what? Struggling, killing, do this, do that, harm people, get high. It's giving a bad message to our community and to our youth, to our young men and young ladies. Having no interest in any damn thing is a risk factor. Let's go to the next slider. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. A clap to you all. Signs to watch for in black men. Black men who don't focus necessarily on typical routines such as work, social networking, hobbies. If you got a brother that had a hobby and he stops doing a hobby, he stops wanting to hang out anymore. He's withdrawn. He has a negative disposition every time you're around him. He's saying little things like, you know what, I don't even feel like living no more. If he's saying and talking like that. Most black men are high functioning and will continue to do their normal activities, but are suffering in silence. Black men are suffering in silence and nobody cares. I'm going to say it again. Black men are suffering in silence and nobody gives a damn about us. So we got to give a damn about us. Increased substance use from social to at home and isolating when doing so. If you have someone you know and they're always isolating themselves, oh, I like to drink by myself. They're constantly isolating themselves from any social interaction. That's a problem. Thank you, Kendra G, for the $10 super chat.
Thank you for the super chat.
I'm not going to use the fanfare today with the music because I just don't think it's appropriate for this particular topic in general. But I thank you for the super chat again.
Thank you for the super chat.
Irritable over the smallest things. So a person who gets irritated over the smallest things, they lose their control over any little thing. Wanting to talk less at home or isolate from friends, especially on the weekends. Discussing death and quality of life concerns. These are signs to watch for in black men. Putting self at risky situations such as starting arguments. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, and some people are not going to like what I'm going to say. On YouTube, especially in black YouTube, I believe, just from my professional experience and my that we do have black people on the YouTube streets who get on panels, who do have mental health problems, and they bring their mental health problems to these damn panels when they are getting into it with people. Now, I got into it with someone on my man Black Man Filter channel the other night, but he came up and he was talking reckless. And we had to set them straight. But I'm saying in general, people who just come on panels and they just want to cause problems. They want to come on panels and disrupt the panel, cause problems because they're angry with themselves. What did I say? Depression is anger turned on yourself, but you also will project it on the other people. It's called self-hate. And when it comes to black people in general, not all of us, but some of us, we have self-hate because we've been taught all our life that we don't look good. Our noses is big, our lips is big, our hair is nappy. We've been told all these negative things and we internalize that and it gets passed down from our family members onto us and we project it onto each other because we look at ourselves in the mirror and we really don't like ourselves. This is how we get colorism and light skin and brown skin and you look better because of this and that. So we internalize this hate and we project it emotionally and mentally on the other people when we get on panels. So even in the YouTube streets, I believe we have black people in these YouTube streets who do have some form of mental health issue, in my opinion, that has either gone undiagnosed or they are in denial because in general in our community, we are highly in denial of mental health issues. We want to pass it on to every damn thing else. But what it really is. Going back to this. Putting self at risky situation, such as starting arguments. Do we do that? Yes, we do. That can lead to confrontation activities, then can lead to police involvement. Inability to adapt. I'll bring you up in a moment, Black Man Unfiltered. Inability to adapt to change in severe PTSD symptoms. What is PTSD? Post-traumatic syndrome disorder.
Tell the truth.
Mental health concerns for Black men and Black boys suffering from high rates of PTSD, depression, anxiety, risk factors, racism, police brutality, childhood trauma, severe guiltiness feeling, lack of understanding, health versus unhealthy coping skills and behavior.
Tell the truth.
There's a substance abuse component. Substance abuse as slow suicide. Boys are likely to attempt use of substance such as marijuana, alcohol, opiates as a way to decompress from their depression, which can also lead to that S word I've been talking about. Men who are severely depressed are likely to over-consume alcohol, marijuana, and may mix multiple substances, which can be lethal. Men are likely to use excessive substances and mix them as a way to end their lives. That can potentially happen. It can potentially happen if they don't get help. Without using more violent measures, using substances is not a foregone upon in the Black community. Therefore, it is an unnoticed symptom of mental health problems. So check this out. I want to tell you guys something that you may not know. I was doing some reading. I'm going to bring Black Men Unfiltered in just one moment. I was doing some reading, and in this article that I was reading, they were saying that a lot of times when you hear about overdoses with drugs, that a lot of times when medical examiners look at Black people who have died from overdose, well, how can I say it? Whenever drugs are involved, they will usually define it as an overdose before they will define it as a suicide attempt. And what they're finding is that there are a lot of people who are using drugs with no intent to overdose, to die, or wait a minute, let me correct that. They purposely overdosed themselves to die. Not that they were just taking the drug and didn't realize that, hey, I got too much of this in the drug and too much of that, or the drug is all spiked up too much. And then all of a sudden, boom, they die. And it was like they wasn't expecting. No, they're saying that there are some cases where people who have overdosed, it was purposeful. They purposely did it as a form to take their life. It isn't just a plain overdose because they didn't know that the drug was too powerful for their system. That's one aspect of this. Let me bring Black Man Unfiltered up because he's waiting in the back, and I'm going to drop the link for other people too. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, my guy, man? Hey, listen, brother, you're so truthful and honest, and you're so powerful. They can't handle you. They're trying to take you out of here, brother. And I don't like the way that first thing went down, but however, I'm here to support my brother, Information Man, guys. So listen, if you just tuning in, please hit the like button and subscribe button for my brother here, man. It's 114 people watching. It should be 114 likes. When you get the likes up and also get those cash apps up so this man can continue great streaming and great content. So I'm just happy to be here, Information Man. I'm happy to be here, brother.
Well, what happened, I'll let you know what happened, Black Men Unfiltered. And I want everybody to subscribe to this brother's channel immediately. I'm going to drop a link so people can come up, but I got to talk to you first. What happened is I got an email from YouTube. They said it's not a community strike. Nothing's being taken down. The video itself was taken down because they said that they felt that the video was going to do harm.
Wow.
And I know, and I think what it was is that I think I began to get into discussion about what happened to Twitch boss first, based on what was in the reporting.
Right.
And I think it was also my my title. I think I put trauma at the end. I think that was a buzzword because they haven't. When a person says that they're dealing with challenges, you would think that those challenges could be trauma of some sort. I think the wording and the way I worded it, and I think also when I begin to tell a story about kids, I think I told a particular story, and I think that was the trigger point.
Right.
That could have done that to the video at that time. And so right now, nothing is happening to the video because I'm within guidelines.
Okay.
And I'm speaking in a way that is saying, hey, we don't want anyone to harm themselves. But YouTube, I believe personally that they don't want us to talk about things that help our people. And I believe if I was up here arguing with someone or saying the N-word 1,000 times or doing something ratchet like that, YouTube would have never taken the video down.
And that's absolutely 100% true. I think that I said that last week to a group of men. We could sit on here if we say anything about any other community, which would be any other community, especially the power communities right now, soul power communities. You'll get struck. You get a strike. However, I can sit up here and say, information man, in this, in that, in this, in this, black women ain't this, black men ain't this, in this, and they'll let it flow all night. No emails, no strikes, no takedowns.
Mm-hmm.
As long as we're destroying each other, they use that as entertainment to make their money. But when we're trying to uplift and encourage each other, they absolutely will take it down.
Now, what I want to do, you're absolutely right, brother. What I want to do before I drop a link in the chat, I want you to give your assessment. I want to also thank you for sending me the some of the material for today around how suicide is becoming and is impacting black males and black boys.
Right.
But I want you, tell everybody about yourself, your channel, and I know you are a family man, but I want you to tell everybody how this whole issue impacts you. What are your thoughts about it? Because I don't think people, Black Men Unfiltered, are taking it very serious. Mm-hmm. When black men talk about the things that we're concerned about, and when we talk about whether people really give a damn about us, whether we live or we die.
Right.
And I think, I know that people are out there and they're caught up in the fact that they didn't like who he was married to. I know there's people that think that way. And people are entitled to however they feel, but this is bigger than who this man was married to, because he could have been very well married to a black woman, as I said earlier, and did the same thing. Right. If something was still wrong with him. Challenges. So we got to look at it for what it is that he's an example of a problem. And I've got a very special video that I'm going to show everybody that happened to someone else that everyone's going to be familiar with in this same way. But go ahead, Black Men Unfiltered.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am Black Men Unfiltered. My network is Black Men Unfiltered Network. If you guys want to come over, please come over and hit the like button, subscribe button, and support Black media. As far as support Information Man as well, hit the like button, subscribe button if you want to join. Hit that join if you want to send a cash app. That helps a lot. If you want to go ahead and just do anything you want to do to support that channel, please support my channel at Black Men Unfiltered Network. To go into how this impacts me, we've had a conversation about this at the barbershop on my network on Friday. And we had a very, very good, heated, and great conversation about it. Some men out here right now are struggling. They're suffering in silence. And I remember one of the guys on the panel, shout out to Mandrell, said the most convincing face is the face that you have to look out for the most. When people try to convince you that they're happy, try to convince you that they don't have an issue or concern in their family, in their marriage, in their finances, and they walk around in mostly black men, because as you see with the Information Man is talking about tonight, as you can see, that black men are at a higher rate of deleting themselves than any other community. And with white girls and white boys, black women combined, black men are taking themselves out at an accelerated rate. And there's a reason for that. There's the stressors and the pressures of the world and all these different things that are happening. And people are now laughing at, or people are saying, you know, you can't feel this way. You're not a man. You're not a great man. You're not this. You know, when you get called all these things, men are not built. Some men are not built to take these things in. And some men right now will go to bed tonight. Their wife don't know that they're depressed. Their kids don't know that they're depressed. Their co-workers don't know that they're depressed. Their moms, and if anybody that's close to them will not know they're depressed. And some men tonight will go to sleep tonight and will not delete themselves. However, if they don't wake up tomorrow, they will be okay with it. If they don't wake up tomorrow, they will be okay with not waking up. Now, if we really want to get deep into it, that could happen. That could absolutely happen with the pressures of the world. But it also can happen in a house where a man cannot be a man in his own house. The stressors of that, walking on eggshells, saying the wrong thing, or being cheated on, or being mistreated by his significant other. That could also be it. A lot of men delete themselves because they can't be who they were created to be. Most men were created to be kings, and the king rules over their land. There's nowhere where you can read where the queen takes over the king and she makes all the decisions. A man is created for one thing, and he's created to make decisions. He's created to make the hard decisions. He's created to raise his children and to love his wife. If we go biblically here, because a lot of people here may not be biblical, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. The Bible says, he who finds a wife findeth a good thing, and he finds favor in the Lord. So if we also have to be conscious of that. Let a man find you and let that man be who he is, because if we're serious about it, a lot of men have deleted themselves because the marriage is not going the right way. The wife is accusing to leave. The wife is playing games and saying the baby may or may not be yours. I'm running late for work. I'm having lunch with my homeboy, my work husband. And a lot of men stress on that. A lot of men stress the fact that they can't take care of their children. A lot of men are deleting themselves because they can't see their children. In the community today, we say men are deadbeats, but if you go look at statistics, you will see some men who have deleted themselves at a very large number are the men that wanted to be in their kids' lives and they're getting games played on them. The uncles are waiting at the door with firearms, or the woman is moving the kids to a whole other state, or that means that, you know, the kid, she's turning the kids against the man, or the shoes are not good enough, the clothes are not good enough. Guys, there's so much pressure on black men. Men are suffering in silence. I didn't want a long stroke information, man. But
you're saying what needs to be said. Everybody, if you really care, because you know what happened to the first video that I tried to strike up, I need everybody in the chat room to definitely share this video out in your social media, absolutely, all of it. And if you have a community tab, share it in the community tab. I know it isn't sexy.
Right.
I know if I was talking about another topic, it'd be more people over here, but this is a topic that is important to black women out there who love black men, and you have a desire to say, hey, I want to marry a black man. I want a relationship. I want a family with a black man. It is important for black women as well to heed and understand that there are black men out here that are going through things. Not that you're not going through anything, but we're going through things that are unique to us, and we're deleting ourselves, and it's increasing. Now, I'm going to say this to you, Black Men Unfiltered. I don't know if you were here to hear what I had said.
Yeah.
What's going on, Jay Dunn? In this, I read some other statistics that I showed today that shows that females have more, and particularly black females, they have more suicidal ideations. But black boys or young males, black males, are attempting suicide at higher rates than females are. Now let me just show you. There is it's interesting here, not interesting, but it's I have read somewhere where at some point it was an increase in black females, right? So suicide rose over the time during that period among black youth of all ages that were the biggest increase according amongst teens age 15 to 17. More than 2.5 times as many black boys died by or deleted themselves by suicide, right?
Right.
But right here it says new studies found that suicide rates among black children and adolescents have recently been worsening between 2003 and 2017. Now we're in 2022. It ain't really changed.
Right.
Some rose in this group, especially among black girls. Now, black girls, yes, it has risen amongst black girls, but black girls are having more situations where they're thinking about doing it. And sometimes they don't go ahead and do the deed of deleting themselves, whereas black boys are going through with it and deleting. And I was also saying that when black men or when men delete themselves, they do it in a more violent proportion. They do it violently in comparison to when females do it. They do it more passively with sleeping pills and things of that nature, right? It doesn't mean that it makes it any better. But when we do it in a very violent way. And that says a lot. What are your thoughts about that before I bring people up?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Even when it comes to Mr. Twitch, and shout out to him and his family, prayers to that family and all who are suffering because of the loss. Even him, he went to a hotel and he used a firearm instead of taking pills, instead of going out of more in my sleep, per se. He used a firearm to take himself out. And so I believe that. I think that women really think about it and don't do it like you said. And then men just say, you know what, I just don't want to do it anymore. They make their minds up and they want it and they just want to be out. And again, going back to our show that we did together on Friday, Information Man, you heard one of the guys on the panel say that. Brother Mandrell, shout out to him again. Mandrell said that. Mandrell said, I was in a position and I was about to take myself out. My family saved my life. They ended up, saving him because he felt like if I don't get up in the morning, I'm okay.
Well, now I'm going to be very honest. I don't think I've told my audience here as I was talking on your channel.
Yeah.
But when I went through a divorce, that was emotionally draining because when you're with someone for 15 years or more, you share a life together, and now you're in a situation where you're apart and things didn't go the way you would want it to go. And our breakup was amicable. We both agreed. It wasn't any drama, but it still affected me in a way where for about at least 3 years of my life after that, I was in a funk for a while. It took me, and I was at a point where I had a form of depression,
right?
Where I was still able to function and go to work, pay my bills, do the things of that nature, but I just didn't feel like doing other things, right? And I never said that I didn't want to delete myself in a way to do something like Twitch boss did in that kind of way. But I was just like Mandrell. I said to myself several times when I went to sleep, if I don't wake up the next day out of my sleep, I was okay with that.
Right.
I was at that place in my life at one point in time.
I've been there.
And I'm not ashamed to say that.
Yeah, I've been there.
Because at that time, my mental health was not the best. A breakup in a relationship, a breakup in a relationship, a marriage, a loss of a child. I know people personally who lost kids, lost family members, and it turned them for the worse. And then they had to get help to come out of it.
Right.
I'll stop right there.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm going to do. Let me drop a link. I'm going to drop a link and let some people come upstairs. I specifically, I don't mind anybody who's going to talk about the subject for coming up. I love that. But I definitely, if the guys are in the chat room, I definitely want the guys to come up and speak to these issues. And if there's any ladies as well who want to, I don't mind that. But I specifically would definitely like to hear from the guys, because I think it's important for our women to hear our perspective. What do you think, Black Man Unfiltered?
Absolutely. I think that it's a learning thing for everybody, basically, for men. But it's good to hear men have conversations about the things that put them in a bad place. put them in a place of, I don't want to wake up tomorrow. And, just like Twitch has beautiful children, beautiful family. And he was to the point where I'm willing to leave all of this behind just to get out of this, mindset that I'm in, to get out of this world. I just don't want to deal with it anymore. And so I think women, if you're watching tonight, thank you so much for supporting Information Man tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Absolutely, and supporting the show with this great content creator. But if you want to come up and say something, that'd be absolutely fine. But I do want you guys to take notes. Like, okay, what signs do I have to look at? What signs do I have to look for? If my man is in that funk where he don't care if he don't even wake up tomorrow. I know I've been there. I've said that to myself years ago. If I don't wake up tomorrow, the world will still be okay. I've been there. So.
But just like I told you on your show the other night ago,
yeah,
the one thing that saved me was my child.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I realized as a man that I could not punk out and leave my child behind.
Right.
And because this is what happens when people delete themselves. You leave a lot of tragedy behind you, because now your wife, your family members, your kids are going to say, why did daddy do that? And now they are going to be emotionally affected by you taking your life. And now you have created a conundrum for the next generation. Psychologically, now you're going to put your child might need to be on medication because of what you did.
And they may do the same thing to themselves.
But, man, so we got brother Big Dog Philly OG here, real Aaron Collins, my man Tech Talk, aka Black Day. What's up, brother? I'm glad you're here. And
I'm good.
I want to hear from everybody, man. I want to hear everybody's point of view.
Let me go first, because when I heard the news and I heard how it went down, I knew he was a part of a few strong community among the dancers, because he was on the movie called Step Up, Stomp Your Yard, a couple of the movies before he did You Think You Can Dance. Now, one of the dancers named Fiction, I thought I got on Instagram, and I knew he had a very strong connection with that dude. And once that happened, I waited to see what he was going to do. He put a video almost 2 days later. It's more than 30 minutes, and he was blaming himself because he said the same guy, Twitch, helped him out when he felt like taking his own life. And he did not see the sign. And I was explaining to guys on the Black Men Unfiltered Network, it's hard for you to see the sign when you see a person who's smiling, always trying to help everybody else. And when I realize why he's helping everybody else,
Yes.
no one is helping him. I was that same person in my 20s in the gym. People think you always lively, always upbeat and everything, but no one knew I was hiding something. It took 3 guys who took note of it, and when I was walking out of the gym that day, they pulled me to the side. They called me to the side. After 30 minutes, they realized I was hiding something. They said, "I'm not gonna let you do that to yourself." And 9 times out of 10, you're not gonna notice that. There was time. I live in Brooklyn. I'll be close to the train like this when it coming to the station, and not move and not budge. I hated myself. I was going through something in my family that it affected me in so many ways. In fact, it's somehow like if I didn't have the people who would able to impact my life in those moments, I could have been gone. I could have. Yet I was a Christian, but I know of Christian people who did the same exact thing. That did not help alone. You need that type of brother who will let you know you're not alone in this mess. And ever since then, I took what I learned and trying to help others not to go down that same path either. Whenever I get to that environment, I notice one about to go, I'll put on the top, we have a conversation. I don't care if I have to listen to you for 2 hours straight. Unload everything so I can help you understand how to navigate it out of it.
Right.
No one saw the sign. His close friend did not see the sign. That's to show you will never notice it. Everybody wear a mask to hide their inner pain, their inner injury, their inner hurt. Unless you can pick it up on it and you say, you know what? Oh, we need to talk. Let's go and have a cup of coffee.
Right.
Let's unload. That bugged me a lot because a good friend of mine took his life this year. We used to go to the same church. Everybody in the church was pretending to be holy and that. But when we have these so-called men meeting, you can tell people are showing up. People don't want to be open. Me and him were the only guy who opened ourselves to everybody else. and I hate it when people are being fake.
Mm-hmm.
So that thing bugged me. When I heard and knew how he did it, he was going through some sickness. He was ill. No one from the church leadership come to check on him and everything. They were cool with his wife, but was not cool with him. They never checked him. While he was going through that situation he was going through, he took the firearm and deleted himself. And I
Wow.
heard when that thing hurt me, I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought to develop hatred to the church in particularly. 'Cause I knew those guys that like to pretend or they always help out another, but when they see they're going through something, it's never been the case. I've always volunteered without people knowing that, trying to understand people, trying to reach out to people, trying to be hospitable to everybody else, ain't trying to be fake about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I say people don't understand this when it comes to men. Men have a way of hiding it for years.
It can lay dormant, and then when all of a sudden one day when something happens, excuse me, everyone's like, "What happened?"
Right.
And
My
the
late
problem
my,
is, that you ever notice how sometimes I know particularly for black men, sometimes when we're angry because we live in a world where nobody listens to us.
and that is fact. My late dummy for 15 years. I hid mine for 15 years. Imagine that.
No, and you know what? Nobody.
From youth.
Let me tell you something, guys. Nobody cares. This is the mindset of men. I did a short the other day, and I said that nobody cares. When a man is going through something, it's toughen up, be a machine, be a robot, work, take care of your family. Nobody. When it comes to a man's emotions, he's always been verbally violated by everybody by having emotions. You're a weak man. You're a weak dude if you have emotions. You're a weak man if you feel like you're tired after work. How many men, let's talk about that. How many men come home from work to their families and they're not even allowed to sit down and just have a moment to breathe? But everything I've heard I've heard women say to their husbands, when you get off work, you come and do your second job. When you come through the door, you should be in the kitchen with me doing the dishes. You should be helping me cook. And yes, you can, but God, you got to give these men an opportunity. They've been out in the world all day. Supervisor pissed them off. And the only reason he didn't beat the hell out of the supervisor is because he loves you and your children. The only reason he didn't snap on the man that cut him off and shot out the window is because he loves you. So when the man comes home, give him the understanding and the love and the nurturing. That's what women are made for. God created woman to be help, nurturing, and loving. So when he comes home, give him that nurture and love. And then after that, he'll be a man will run through a brick wall for you if you respect him. The Bible says, husbands, love your wives, but women, respect your husbands. So respect them, nurture them, and love them, and walk through the journey with them. And when they share their vulnerability with you, I said this information man the other day, and it got 3 million views, and men were watching it. Women, you have one opportunity to cross a man's vulnerability, and when you cross it, he'll never be the same. He'll never look at you the same. He'll go through the motions, and that's a man you do not want to be with. When you get a man to that point, but I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm passionate about this, man. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna leave it alone. But these men are.
I'm the same way here. I'm the
I had a
same way.
friend
Hey,
take
can I
himself.
tap in real quick when the brother
Go
finishes? I
go
apologize.
go right ahead, big dog Philly OG. Come on and tap in, brother.
First of all, much love and respect to you and your family. Always information, man. Much love and respect to everybody on the panel and in the
Thank
chat.
you.
Thank you,
You
brother.
know, what I'm going to be saying is going to be liked, but I really don't care. I don't come on this YouTube to be politically correct. One thing, it's a couple reasons, and I'm gonna be brief. You know what I mean? It's a couple reasons I see why we don't love ourselves. We not taught to love ourselves. Why we hate everything about us. One is religion. For me, religion takes away, you're giving your love and your respect to an entity that doesn't exist. And we ain't taught to love ourselves. I learned how to love myself. I love myself by watching what I do, watching what I eat, watching what I drink. That's the start of me beginning to love myself. And then once you learn how to love yourself, you can love other people. But we were been corrupted with religion, miseducation. I think if one of the biggest things that our people suffer from is a lack of identity. But most of us don't want to deal with the lack of identity. We've been reclassified here in America, and a lot of blacks do not know who they are, and that's a big reason for a mental illness, you know, and we ain't taught to stand up because we always got a mediator that's there, and that's religion. And basically, like I said, that's my biggest thing. We were taught to hate ourselves, and someone was always going to forgive us for our sins, allegedly. And we ain't taught to step up and be a man. I'm a man. I deal with issues. I lost my daughter in 2015. And it taught me a cruel lesson on life. You know what I mean? I think like I said, the biggest problem we have is misidentification. If we knew who we are, and I know who I am, I did the work, but a lot of our people don't want to do the work and find out who they are. They accepting who the system says they are, and I think that causes a lot of mental health problems, along with us, not wanting to stick together, not wanting to bind. You know what I mean? And like I said, it's sad because it's our people. Like what I want for myself, I want for my brothers and sisters. But we so divided by all these different things where we ain't taught to look at self. And I think, anything that we do or a person does, you should always look at yourself first. And we taught to look outside of ourselves and not to taught to look into ourselves and learn how to love ourselves. Like I said, I learned how to love myself, and I try to pass it on to others. But like I said, the mental illness in our community is sad because I think it's a lack of self. We scared to look at self when nobody else can help you if you don't want to help yourself. And I'm a lamb right there.
All right, brother. I appreciate your thoughts. Once again, everybody has the right to their thoughts and how they feel. I do have to agree with you, Philly OG, that black people in this country, some of us, we do suffer from a lack of self-identity and who we are. Because especially in America, we've been for so long trying to find ourselves. And a lot of times you make a good point. We have been in a situation where people label us for us. And even, so you make a very good point. And that can affect one's mental health when you don't really know who you are. But I got to be honest, brother, before you can even identify with what we are racially, hell, some of us can't even figure out what we're supposed to do as a man. Some of us are finding a hard time to understand what that means and what purpose that is. But thank you, brother. I appreciate the statements. Let me go ahead and bring in Real Aaron. What I want to do is I want to bring in Real Aaron Collins and then give my man No Cap. I want to bring him in and then go to I believe Back to the Basics. And then Mike. So go ahead, Real Aaron Collins. I think there's some feedback going on here.
Yeah, salute to everybody, salute Info-Man, salute panel. This is a very great topic, and this is a very much needed and important topic. One thing I've always said, that mental health in the black community has always been the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about. I mean, every time when someone talks about mental health, we're always written off. Oh, he just thrown off. He's just crazy. He all right. But giving any real issues, and it's always been dismissed. And especially with black men, because black men, we've been taught this fake masculinity, this macho crap. Oh man, you a punk, man. If you cry, stuff like that. I mean, I grew up with that. I mean, I grew up on the south side of Chicago, so I've seen it firsthand what it's like. And for black men to hold stuff in, I mean, I see it every day that we hold so much stuff inside us, where most of these other groups have their own safe spaces they can go to. But a lot of times we let that fester, and it festers, and it will take years and years before he just finally explodes. And then they want to say, "Well, he's a toxic masculinity. He's evil." But what caused him to be that way? Well, and I'm not justifying anything. Let me set that straight right now. I'm not justifying any crimes or any wrongdoing. I'm actually talking about the topic we're on. It's about mental health, and as Brother Info Man said, that S word in our community. I did a video about another brother named a YouTuber, and he's a black content creator named Etika, who suffered from mental health too, and he deleted himself as well.
Wow.
So I mean, this is something that no matter how much you sweep it under the rug, one thing about dirt, if you sweep enough under the rug, eventually it's gonna move the rug away. So the more rid of this, it's going to continue to expose itself. So we may as well talk about it because it's a serious issue. And Info Man, just so you know, I did attempt to come to the last stream, and literally as I came,
You're borging a little bit, brother. Yeah, Real Aaron Collins, I think you're borging a little bit, brother. I don't think we could hear that. You was borging.
I was saying that I came into the last stream you had, and right as I came in, that's when it was deleted for whatever reason. I thought it was something on my end, but it was YouTube doing their regular YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
But we here right now. We talk about it because you can't stop greatness, and this is going to be talked about. And like I said, I love that you got a bunch of brothers on this panel talking. Because see, this is something else that we're not expected to do. Now, if we talking about B's and H's and talking about going to the club, it'll be all kind of eyes and ears on this. But we talking about something real, and we should literally have the whole community watching this right now. Because I mean, and I can speak from personal experience. There's been times when I've had to go see a therapist, and I've dealt with depression. And even with the Twitch being in the entertainment industry, I was literally just saying this yesterday, how, because see, I work in the entertainment industry. Everyone looks so pretty and stuff, walking the red carpet. They got their smiles and nice tuxes and dresses on, and it's all festive and stuff. And don't get me wrong, I eat that stuff up, and I love it too. But what they don't see, what they don't show behind closed doors, is when those cameras and lights go out, you got a whole human being sitting there that's going through a whole lot right now. So I'm glad.
I really appreciate that from you. Let's go ahead and let's hear from my man Freezy. I'm definitely looking forward to hearing what you have to say, brother, as we give everybody opportunity to speak. Go ahead, brother. The floor is yours.
Information Man, I appreciate you for having me on. Black Man Unfiltered. Love you, brother. Black David, all my brothers in the building, all the brothers and sisters that I don't know. And hey, it's a pleasure to be in you guys' presence this evening.
Pleasure to have you here, brother. No doubt about that. And I appreciate, and everybody in the chat room, I appreciate you all hanging with us and listening. I know this is not a type of stream that people want to listen to, because it's a stream that makes you do some self-examination, because we are all susceptible to this thing called mental health. None of us are immune to it, period. Go right ahead, brother.
This DJ Twitch boss situation is it's all over the place. I know you guys have been in tune and in different spaces. You probably heard other people talk about this situation, right? And a lot of YouTubers don't believe they find it hard to believe that he actually deleted himself, just because of his his spirits that he portrayed even 24 hours before his death, right? So a lot of people are having a hard time, but even just believing that he deleted himself. And what you and Black Man touched on, and Black David, it's very important for people to know that it's very possible for somebody to look absolutely normal, and before you know it, they take themselves out, right? And let me tell you something: the worst position to be in as a spouse is for your significant other to take themselves out in that fashion, and you didn't see it coming. You didn't have a chance to talk to your significant other. I'm pretty
Right.
sure Allison Holker, I think that's his wife's name.
That is.
I'm pretty sure she's having a lot of sleepless nights because she's thinking about, why didn't he come to me? And we have to ask ourselves these questions. Why, wives, listen, Black Man, you hit it on the head. We got to be able, listen, you only get, with men are very simple people. You only get one chance to, we have a disrespect threshold, but once you break that disrespect threshold, I don't think it's no coming back. Now I'm not judging their relationship. I wasn't a fly on the wall. I don't know the dynamics of their relationship. But it is something wrong, and this is just my opinion, that he wasn't willing to at least come to his wife and cry, at least cry and say something. Something.
So would you say that there was potential for there to be, she said that they didn't have an argument, but that doesn't mean that they didn't have some type of breakdown in the relationship, possibly, because you're right about that. Why would a man not go to his wife? If anyone, he should be able to go to his wife and reveal some things. But once again, we don't know how deep his pain might have been. Like all we know is that he left a note saying that he had challenges. And then you have to ask yourself, what were those challenges? Was it the relationship? Was it the show being canceled? It just makes you wonder. But go ahead, brother.
Man, when you get married, the Bible says, hey, I'm going to take a page out of the Black Man book. When you get married, the Bible says, you leave your father and mother and you cleave to your wife. Everything that you go through, everything that's on your mind, you should be able to share it with your wife. I don't give a damn what it is. If nobody else should know, your wife should know. And I just feel like, it's a problem that she was so unexpecting of his deletion. And this should be a lesson to all wives out there, or female significant others. Listen, make sure you make a pillow type of environment for your husband, to where he feels comfortable to share. Because let me tell you something, it's very hard for men to share their vulnerability with anybody. But the very person that they should be able to share it with is their wife. So that's my biggest takeaway from it. So many people are having a hard time actually believing that he deleted himself. People are coming up with all kind of conspiracy theories, Illuminati. I done heard it all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you'd be surprised at the type of stories that they got out there.
But
about
see,
Twitch.
the reason why, just going to say this, the reason why it's easy for us to run to the conspiracy theories, because that's just another way to be in self-denial of the fact of the matter is that we do have Black men and Black women and Black people who are doing this to themselves. And it is what it is, because we have not addressed some of the pain in our communities that we have been suffering. We're not addressing the fact that Black boys are suffering. Black boys are actually the first to be attacked in school.
Right.
By the teachers. Black boys are the first to be labeled hyperactive, aggressive, right? When we were getting into that whole debate about medicines and who's responsible for it, well, we know that Black boys are the first ones they begin to say, we need to medicate them. Black boys begin to be demonized. I brought up the slider before that Black Men Unfiltered have found and said what? Racism, prejudices, being profiled environmental stressors, all these different things are impacting black boys. And we want to sit up here as a people, sometimes, not all of us, and say it's a conspiracy. That's just another form of denial. Go ahead, brother. And as you were saying, and I want to hear other people speak their piece too. Go ahead.
There's a very well, I don't know if I can say names on here, but there's a very well-known YouTuber that was heavily connected to Kevin Samuels. We all know who he is. His name starts with an O. He even said that he even repeated some satire that Twitch deleted himself because of Bitcoin, you know. And
wow.
Yeah, but and then when I looked closer into it, it was some crap that I forgot the Columbus short said. It was you know, people are just running with BS, you know what I'm saying? And I was surprised that this very well-known YouTuber said that he even published this story. You know what I'm saying? So it's I just want to say this, but you know, to conclude, you know, my soliloquy right now, because I'm not going anywhere, but I just want to conclude what I have to say right now. And I want to just tell everybody, listen, most men do a good job at laughing and smiling and fraternizing with their homies, you know, even with their wives. You know, a lot of, you know, how many husbands across America with their wives ask them, how was your day, honey? Oh, it was good. I'm all right, I'm good, you know. You know, and watch out for the short answers and all that kind of stuff. When they get short with you, you know, listen, men do not like to expose their vulnerability. They do not like to, you know, seem weak in front of anybody, you know. So, wives, you are the most important person. Before he tells a therapist, he should be able to tell you. And I just want to say that I'm not blaming Allison Holker for anything. I just want that to go on the record. You know, I don't know that I want to repeat, I don't know the dynamics of their relationship. But you don't want to be in those shoes where you get a phone call from police department and your significant other has deleted themselves and you do not know why. You didn't see it coming. That's my biggest takeaway from this. You know, even with my wife, you know, I started just from this story. I asked her, hey, is there anything I don't know? Do we need to, you know, we need to have some talks, extra talks and stuff, because just in case. And then she looked at me like I was crazy, like, why you ask me that? You know, I just want to know because I don't need, I don't need surprise phone calls and then, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, but that's my biggest takeaway from that whole situation. Information, man.
Wow. Let's go ahead and go over to, I appreciate what you said, brother. Real deep stuff. Let's go over to back to the basics. Let's hear from you, sister.
Hello. I'm going to be short
Okay.
because I see I'm the only female up here. So I'm going to be short. What I'm going to say is, as far as this topic, very sad, unfortunately. What I'm getting from, I've heard from many men on the panel. I've had my time to think, and men just need a safe space. They need a place of just non-judgmental where they can be vulnerable. That's so important. I'm going to be an aunt here in 2 months, and as far as my nephew, I'm only going to be able to do so much. That's for older men, particularly his father, in order to really give him the instruction as far as on this. The best thing that I can do is help to reinforce that. And that's what I feel about that. It's really sad. I was really stunned by the news myself. But that's what I believe. As far as the sacred text that was mentioned, I believe that, I was brought up in a Judeo-Christian home. I did take a step out of the 66 books, and I know exactly what Ephesians chapter 5 says, how a woman should love her husband, she should respect her husband, and, a husband should love his wife as he loves his own flesh. And that's what I believe. Um, but I go outside of that because I've also seen how religion can be destructive and used against us. But as far as mental health, it just continues to be this revolving door, unfortunately, in our community that needs to be addressed. And I think that black men, that has to be addressed, with other black men. As a woman, I can only do so much. I can only help facilitate, and I can help reinforce. And with
Okay.
that, I'm gonna leave the panel.
Well, let me ask you this question from from a woman's perspective, and I'm not. This is not your opinion, but just maybe from what you've seen. Does it appear that people really give a damn about what's happening with black men emotionally and physically in this? Do you get that sense that people care about our voices or care about the fact that some of us are deleting ourselves? And it's a lot of, and this is what's crazy about it. There's a lot of us that are deleting ourselves that we never know about. That goes on. What are your thoughts about that? Do you see it that way, or you have a different opinion?
It's so sad because when I look at society as a black woman, that this concerns me. If my counterpart isn't doing well, then I'm not doing well. Both of my parents are deceased. My mother, my father, both of their going out it was hard. The transition was hard. But if my counterpart isn't doing well, that should alarm me. And I would say for society as a whole, from what I've seen, no,
Yes.
society doesn't care. I was watching on the news about NBC. There was this a school district in Texas where there was of course, a black boy who, I mean, the N word was a regular thing, and other things that were done. And I'm like, no, I can't. No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
But that's just me. But that's what I'll say.
Yeah. I just want to say this real quick. Someone left Fashion for Life. She made a good point. I think it was her that she believed that the wife did know something, and this is all speculative though, but I can concur with that myself. Go ahead, Black Men Unfiltered, and then we're going to go over to Mike, who's a guest on the panel as well, and then we'll try to get to the pill here. Go right ahead, Black Man Unfiltered.
Yeah, so back to the basics. That's who was just speaking, right? I want to make sure I'm good.
Yeah, she was the one speaking.
So I do agree with what you're saying, and I wholeheartedly believe that women should listen to women like you, because when it comes to women like you speaking in the way that you're speaking about your man and black men in general, that needs to be an everyday thing that black men hear. So thank you for being loving and caring and having a heart for black men. That's amazing. It seems to be a little rare these days. But however, I do want to say when you said that people use religion against us, you are absolutely correct. And that's why I wanted to share something with you and everybody that's listening. For those who have experienced someone using religion against you, you have to be willing to read what's in those 66 books, because it specifically said something about that. It says in Mark 4, I think Mark 4:23, somewhere like that. It said, if anyone has ears to hear, let them hear. Consider carefully what you hear, right? With the measure you use, it will be measured to you, and even more. Whoever has also will be given more. Whoever does not have, even what they will have, we will be taken away. We have to be knowledgeable in what we believe and standing the square of what we believe, and stop allowing others, right, to tell us what it is that we should believe, how we should walk, how we should move. If we believe in something, we stay in the square. If we believe in God and we believe in Jesus, we believe in Christianity, that's what we believe in. We read it, we study it, and we move. But the discernment that God gives us, back to the basis, is that when we hear it from someone's mouth that's using it against us, we immediately get the discernment from that spiritual realm that says, this man right here is lying to me. This woman is lying to me. This guy on the panel is lying to me. And you will have that, and as women and men, you will have that discernment when people try to use it against you. That's why Nat Turner did what he did, because he felt guilty. This man is making me preach to my own people, but turning the word against my own people. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to choose to do something different to show them that I'm not playing with them.
Right.
So,
Black Man Unfiltered. I'm going to step away for about a minute.
Yeah, go ahead. Got you.
Continue moderating the show for me and make sure all these great people get their voices heard. Thank you. I'll be right back.
Absolutely. Back to the basic. If you want to respond to that, you can. And then we'll move on to Dusto. I think Dusto was next, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I wanted my time to be short because I'm going to lead the panel. I just think that due to the events that just only men should be up here, I just wanted to speak very briefly.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for having a heart for Black men. We need more women like you. Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Dusto, what's going on, man? What are your thoughts on the conversation so far tonight? Then we'll move on to the trio peel.
What's going on? Can y'all hear me loud and clear?
Yeah, you good.
Cool.
And congratulations.
Oh, thank you, bro. Identity crisis. I said this the other day. There's a lot of people who've been sold a lie, and when they realize it, it's a problem. I've seen people grow up. Somebody keep telling them, you're going to be this, you're going to be that, you're going to be that. And they're not doing the work. They got no plan. They just tell them that that's how life is. You just appear, turn 18, and you get money, cars, rims, girls, and everything. One day they're really going to turn 18. It's really going to happen. And they're going to realize that they are exactly what they are. There's some people who are told, Incel Jenkins over here, if you be a doctor, if you get this job, if you could just get this one thing, or either they're fixated on one thing, then they lose that one thing. And that was the only thing their whole life was dependent on. That job, that car, or that relationship. That one woman, they put everything into it. And she says, you know what? I'm kind of not feeling this right now. And that one thing is gone. Now they really look in the mirror and see. So from the outside, but you don't get it, man. You're 6'3". You got this. You got a nice car. You got a dog. To them, that stuff don't mean nothing. People keep neglecting the need for people to feel. Emotional intelligence is critical. Men and women are lacking. Men are lacking knowledge and emotional intelligence. Women are lacking care. They don't care men don't know how you feel. Women don't care how you feel. Trying to stay on topic, not get off. But conversations need to be had. Identities need to be established. People need a form of reality, and a form of focus, and a form of a plan, and an environment that they can actually thrive and become better people on a regular basis. And the zombie apocalypse has happened. The food is going into your body. The not getting 8 to 7, 8 hours of sleep. I'm not insulting medication. Those of you who believe in medication, those who don't, I'm somewhere in the middle. Pharmacy is a business. Medication, all this stuff is a business, as well as insurance and everything. I'm trying not to go in detail. There's profit over there on that side, and not everybody is your friend. From pharmacists to doctors to in companies and watch what's going into your body and what's going into your brain, along with social media, along with positivity and negativity. That's all I got. I'm just trying to stay on topic and not touch anything sensitive.
And thank you so much for that. And now, Dusto, before you go, I want to say something. Trio Pill, get ready because you're up next. So I want to ask you something, Dusto, because you're very good with numbers. How many hours are in a day?
24.
How many hours do people work normally?
8.
Average. 8. How many hours do you supposed to sleep?
7 to 8.
Okay.
7 to 9.
Okay. All right. And then, so I want to ask you this. If we're supposed to work 8 hours, get off work, but the last 8 hours that I'm talking about is, now we haven't included getting up, getting dressed, taking a shower, taking the kids to school, coming home from work during that 8-hour period where you're supposed to be sleeping, helping your kids with their homework, mowing the yard, taking care of bills, taking care of situations, circumstances, going to PTA meetings in a roundabout way. It's sleep deprivation. Nobody is getting 8 hours of sleep right now. Some people are, but the majority of people that are working 8-hour jobs to have a family. Let me give you an example. I run a network, 9 shows on the network, right? I get up every day. I work 8 hours. When I get off those 8 hours, I come home. I'm supposed to be sleeping for 8 hours. I'm not. My son needs help with his homework or a project. My daughter needs me to take her to Walmart, right? My wife is already gone with my other daughter to volleyball practice. So then I have to step up and be the man and say, hey, listen, son, I'll help you. Then that takes 2 or 3 hours, right? Because I want to make sure he understands it, make sure he gets something to eat, make sure he goes to bed, right? So now I've cut into the 4 hours of my 8 hours I'm supposed to be asleep. See what I'm saying? So it's sleep deprivation. And again, in other countries, I'm going to say this and I'm going to stop because I don't want to go, I'm not like you, I don't want to derail the show. But when you go to
total facts, everything you're saying is facts.
Dude, even when you go to other countries are working 4 hours a day. They're working half a day, right? They got free childcare. They got free health care. I was looking at Iceland the other day. I was amazed at that documentary. Iceland said they haven't had a deletion in their country, whether self-deletion or somebody doing something, assault, deletion, rape, anything in their country in 25 years.
It's funny you say that, man, my black man. I said out my show.
Hold on, Black David. They don't carry guns. The police officers don't carry firearms. And the people work 4 hours a day. It's the most unviolent place you can live on the planet. They don't have no violence. Women walking home at night on the street or through the parks don't have to worry about nobody snatching them up and raping them. Don't have to worry about kids being molested or put on the back of a van. They don't have it. It's non-existent. It's non-existent, and they make good money over there. And you work half a day, and those people are comfortable. They're laid back. They have family little get-togethers, and the women go get their nails done. Their kids can sit outside and play. They don't have to look and see if anybody kidnapping their kids. It's just a different place. So I think the country that we're living in right now is work. Imagine you work 8 hours, then the mom, just think about single moms right now. They work 8 hours, get off, got to go deal with 2 kids' homework. After 2 kids' homework, got to cook something to eat. Then you got to worry about the other kid that's got a fever or the other kid's got a headache. Now you got to put them to bed. That's 4 hours until you sleep. Then you got to get up the next day. Make sure that now you get up an hour early. Make sure they get dressed for school. Go drop them off at the bus stop. Drop them off at the school. That's 3 hours going out of your sleep. The women, they're not sleeping. Nobody's getting any rest in this country. But I'll leave that alone. Trill Peel, I'm gonna let you speak. Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not even.
I'm about to drop. I'll be listening in the background.
All right, Dusto, man, my brother, Dusto.
Man, I just want to say I appreciate this platform. The other platform, this is my first time here. I subscribe on the instant. I subscribe, and all the links that's down in the chat because this is very important to me. And I'm gonna go ahead and go into it. When I was 22 years old, I was in the middle of college, and my mother passed away. I had already had a child, so I was a college student and a father. At the same time, not only learning how to take care of myself, but not taking care of a whole human being that looks exactly like me. And in the midst of that, trying to find myself, I lost my mother to lung cancer. And that is pretty much the start of my journey in trying to figure out what is this whole thing of mental health, because I started to notice things about myself that I was going through, and it wasn't normal. I found myself in dazes, the stares and glances, and I bombed my whole semester after she passed away. The very next week was midterms, and I was in the back of the class staring out the window, and my professor, he shook me. It was like coming out of a dream. And he just told me to say, man, come talk to me at the class. And I did that, and it started me on my journey. And then as I'm learning about this, I'm learning the history of it, and it's a lot of convoluted information that goes into it, talking to my dad and my brothers and, so on and so forth. I think one of the brothers up here was talking about going through a divorce and going through a funk. I went through that 3 years ago, and going to a funk and having to feel like, man, I feel very insufficient, and made me feel like I let my family down. I let my 3 kids down because I couldn't, hold it together, not knowing that it's not all my fault. That's just how I carried it because I come from a 2-parent household, and that's all I know. You know what I'm saying? That's all I knew. So I had to really dig into it, go to therapy. I had to force myself to go to therapy. And so I've been trying to figure this whole thing out. And in the midst of it, I've created a platform trying to talk about mental health. And along with creating it, it's difficult to talk to our people about it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
100%.
like when you create a platform, it's like, oh man, I'm gonna do this. It's gonna look cool. I'm gonna do this, and it's gonna pop. And then, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, well, why isn't it? Because this is well needed, you know. And like you guys were saying, if we were talking about 47 dudes in the RICO case or anybody like that, it'll be flooded. But no.
Right. I'm glad you're saying what you're saying, because I already know that this is not a sexy topic. This is why I don't have as many people as I normally have over here. I know why, because it's not sexy, because it's easy for us to talk about what's happening to other people in the world, right? And people will come over and hear any story about, oh, this person got shot, this person, right? But then when you have a topic that's about self-examination,
yeah,
that people run away from that because now they have to deal with themselves now because it's too close for home. And again, mental health is one of those areas, brother, as you already know, I got to be honest, that our community is heavily in denial of. I'll stop there. Continue. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, you're good, brother. And so when I see these, you know, the worst thing can happen is what already been happening. And I hate to see somebody that looks like me go away like that in order for us to have a conversation. You know, these conversations should already be happening. And it's crazy because it's like in this world of 24 hours, you know, 7 days a week loop of information, people seem like they care about it, and then it goes away. You know what I'm saying? Because it's information every minute, every, you know, part of the day. But nobody really stops at this because, like you just said, it's not sexy. And I think one of the most important things to realize for us as men is you got to look at that man in the mirror and find out who you really are. I was in the crux of going through that same thing myself. But like one of the brothers said up here, I thought about my children. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to do that. And then how I'm going to leave my son? He holds my name. You know what I'm saying? My daughters. You know what I'm saying? My brother, my nieces. So that kind of, you know, made me get more grounded in it and really understand. And even talk to my dad, my pops is 81 years old. We were having a conversation about how just the history of it. They used to call us crazy just because we thought, you know what I'm saying, at that point, thinking that we were quote unquote equal was crazy. You know what I'm saying? So there's a very dark history to this, and I'm glad that we have a bunch of brothers on the panel talking about this, and this platform is wide open, because this conversation needs to be had. It's very important because we don't want to wait until another one of us goes out like this, celebrity or not, to have this conversation. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like family being so separate, but only meeting together at a funeral.
Let me tell you something real quick.
Go ahead, Black David.
What Black Men talk about. You had a show called Burnout, and shout out to Candy Ann, my big sister. I call her Cheetah Nurse, and she explaining to me on the show that we black men, we put ourselves through much obstacle just to provide, just to make sure everything's okay. And sometimes we don't take care of our own physical nor mental health. So the way everything is tied together, the video is still on my platform to this day because I live it there for a reason. Because we talk about Spain, about the work environment. We talk about England, the work environment. Spain got a 2-hour lunch break. In this country, the least you will get is 30 minutes.
That's true. But Black David, if I could, I got to ask this question because I believe it was either Jay Dunn who asked this question earlier. She's one of my mods, and shout out to Jay Dunn.
Thank you, Jay Dunn.
and she asked a question about why is it that black men appear as if we refuse to go to the hospital and get ourselves checked out, because not only do we have the deletion issue, but some of us are not taking care of ourselves in terms of getting our checkup. You got the prostate cancer situation that some of us are afraid to deal with because we don't want someone to put some fingers in us. And I understand that. But at the same time, I would rather have a doctor give me the test than get a test that says you're going to be gone in 6 months. That's just my opinion about it. So I think that was kind of her question. We can't speak for all black men, but we can speak for ourselves as black men on this panel.
Right.
I'll stop right there.
I give it a short answer, but let me give it a full answer. This is universal among black men, either be African American, either be African, or either be Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
We are taught that we are men. You could take any kind of hit and still walk it off.
Exactly.
It's taboo in my country to talk about mental health because we don't call it mental health. Either it's demonic oppression or something came upon him, or he lost his mind, or he went off. In the Caribbean, I hear the same similar thing. It's all across the board on one common denominator. They expect man to be beyond Superman. They expect man to be the Incredible Hulk. They expect man to let his body bounce off. It don't mean nothing. No, that is not the case.
Right. Oh, go ahead.
I might look like a big dude. I can take the heat. Sometimes, if it get too much, I try to turn the gym at my sanctuary place. Take all the frustration, take all the anger and the pain out of me, so it will take out. You know what it's like to be stressed out and have so much rage built up? It's like a stranglehold. If you have no outlet, where would it go to?
Right. It stays in.
It's gonna stay in, and you're gonna turn in. You're gonna turn inward on yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly. At the age of 9, I was feeling suicidal at the age of 9.
That's tough.
True confession, and I hid it for 15 years. So imagine my mother and my dad, my brother, my sister couldn't even know what was going on in my head, and I hid it perfectly well. How will you know that I'm going through something or not?
And you know what, Black David? I'm gonna say this about the health thing, and I'll let you guys cook. My grandfather meant everything to me. He was a second father. My dad was in my life. We didn't have a really good relationship because my dad, he's very stern. He was not balanced. It was my way or no way, or hit the highway. But my grandfather was the same way, but we just had a connection. And I remember my grandfather used to do this a lot and used to do a lot of movement. And one night he was coughing real bad when I was at his house. I was like, damn. So my grandmother yelled and said, come here, come help, whatever. So I go in and my grandfather's coughing up blood. Right? My grandmother went through his little bag. You know how men have their little bag where they have the little stuff in it. And she went through towel after towel after towel of towels he's used over the last probably week, 2 weeks, just blood everywhere. He never said anything. The only way my grandmother knew about it is that he started coughing and she happened to wake up and see him wiping the blood off of his mouth. He wouldn't go to the doctor. He wouldn't go. And my grandmother said, you're either going to go. My dad went over and said, listen, there's only one way in. Two ways you can go, voluntarily or involuntarily. You pick, right? And my grandfather was a big guy. He could knock your teeth out. So it was tough for him to go, and he went to the doctor, and they said, listen, you don't have long. Your heart is in a very bad way. If it's gone too long. And my grandfather, he just took it like a shot of liquor. Okay. He went back to the house having more pain.
Tell the truth.
So one day, brother, this is what happened, man, that destroyed me, man, for a while. I was deep depressed. One day I got a call. My grandmother cooked breakfast for my grandfather, and she went over to give him his medicine, of course, and to give him his food. And when she gave him his medicine, he took it, and she said, okay, I'm bringing your breakfast in a minute. He said, okay. Watching TV, my grandmother comes back over with the plate of food. He's sitting there, eyes had rolled into the back of his head. He was dead. He died of a massive heart attack.
Wow.
And he was right there in the chair. Right? Try not to get emotional, but that broke
Black man, I wish
that
you didn't say that
that
because
broke
I have
me.
similar stories.
That broke me deeply to the point where I was like, oh my, and he was a machine, even though they told him don't lift nothing. He didn't have to work. He was retired 30 years. He didn't have to work. He didn't have to do anything, but he still felt the need to be a machine. He was outside moving shit. And so don't move nothing. He outside pulling shit and picking up heavy shit still and rolling shit across the yard. And I'm like, Granddaddy, stop. He said, don't tell your grandma. Don't tell your grandma I'm out here because I don't want to hear him out. But that's the kind of man he was. He was a robot until he died. And it's just so this is why I'm so passionate about it, man. My grandmother is the oldest of 22 kids. Some of the girls are still living, but 6 of my uncles died. They dead, overworked themselves, dead, gone, didn't go to the doctor, no checkups. One of them got gangrene, had to have one of his fucking legs amputated. And he just passed away. All of them just died. And they tried to self-medicate. And half of them died from drinking, poisoning, alcohol poisoning, 2 or 3 of them. And this is why when I talk about this stuff, I'm telling you guys from an anecdotal experience that I've seen. That's why I don't drink. To this day, information man.
Me neither.
I've never had I don't even know how alcohol tastes. I swear to God, I've never had alcohol. I've never had any type of drug, weed, anything like that, man, because I saw it growing up as a child that it destroyed damn near every man in my family because they tried to self-medicate to keep moving forward.
Wow.
It's crazy, bro.
Black man, you just met me, but I have an almost similar story to that. My uncle passed away.
Oh yeah, with your aunt?
The same way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember the story I told you about.
Exactly.
Just a minute away from the house. This man was going through so much verbal and mental abuse from his wife, and I saw some of it. He was a quiet man. I love this uncle. Seriously. He's one of my mentors. I love this uncle. This happened out here in Queens. Man would not say a word. He would keep it to himself. Work. I don't know if he took any medical help whatsoever. He didn't do nothing. One day coming home from work, he was just 5 minutes away from his house. The man collapsed and dropped. When I heard the news, I hated my aunt. I did not want to see her. I didn't want to smell her. I didn't want to know her. Because I felt like she took something away from me. Whenever I come to the guy home, if he asked me for anything, it didn't take me less than 3 seconds. Okay, I will do it. I will rush to help him out. I look up to this dude. I lost a few mentors in way that it shaped the way I am. It allowed me to be super aware of what's going on around me. So when people make fun or make like of this type of situation, it rubbed me off the wrong way. On Black Men Unfiltered Network on that Friday, that dude that came up, I was holding the Hulk weight for not going to the screen and choking him. I'm in Brooklyn, y'all. I don't play around with that type of topic. I don't. If I see a brother going through something, if I see the sign, I will call to the guy to let's talk. And I did that last year. No, what did I do? 2 years ago, before the pandemic. A young dude was going through the same thing. He just sitting in front of my block. And I put him to the side, I had a conversation, and let me know what we were going through. I said, dude, do not hold that to yourself. I always be aware where I go around this neighborhood. If I see someone going through, if I see that look in his eye, I try to volunteer my time to let he can unload everything and let me listen. Let me see what I can do to help him out. If I can, if I have it on me, I give him a little, I say, hey, it may not be much, but this is the start. Somebody help me to overcome this. Who am I not to help the next brother? This topic is beyond serious because I do not play around. Okay, if I live with it for 15 years and I hate it, I took counseling without my mom and dad even knew about it. Who in my family knew I took counseling for this? Nobody. You know why? I couldn't trust no one. among them. They betrayed me. They backstabbed me. To this day, I cut off my mom, my brothers, and my sisters. Clean cut. I don't talk to them. I don't speak to them. They all moved to, except for my mom, they all moved to Texas. I don't want to see none of them.
Wow.
I'm not an egotistic person, but I hate people with ego and pride that look down on people. This is why I don't do it with people with ego and pride. If you got too much ego and pride, don't come near me. Just don't.
Right.
Because you come up to me the wrong way, I will snap. And you're not going to like it. I'm a cool guy. I don't mind having a joke with black men. Black men is like my joke. He crack joke, I don't care. We have fun.
Right.
I do also help speak a few on these platforms on YouTube. I'm a cool dude, but I don't like when people make fun of people who are going through these things.
Facts.
I don't care you're homeless. I did that to a few guys.
You know what? Let me
I don't tell people what I do on the side.
Go right ahead.
I heard a guy on the panel, Information Man, say this yesterday. He said, if guys are out here deleting themselves, let them. Because those are the men that were weak, and we don't want our sons to be weak like them. I heard a black man.
Okay, check this out. I've been waiting to play this for everybody. I want y'all to listen to this 4-minute program real quick. You guys are gonna be familiar with this actress, and you're gonna remember what happened, and then you're gonna see the brother on the show talk about this is the misnomer. We think that people who delete themselves within our community are men who are weak. Not true. I can name you cases of people that were entertainers or athletes that we thought were tough guys, and they took. So it ain't about how alpha you think you are. You can be alpha on the outer and exteriorly, you're physical. You could be good with women. You could be good with your money. You could have all these things going on, but there can also be something else wrong. You could be alpha, but then there could be something else wrong in the other part of you. See, because mental health, and I know this, it doesn't discriminate by your race, your age. I mean, some mental health conditions you usually get at certain ages. They're not, but in general, it doesn't discriminate against who you think you are. It's a silent killer. Now, I want y'all to listen to this and let this be a throwback to the past to remind you how important this is of an issue. Check this one out. You all are going to remember this. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
For the world period, the death of award-winning actress and director Regina King's child brings extreme heartache through Hollywood and, of course, the black community. Like I said, everywhere. I mean, Regina is loved by
It's
everybody.
frozen, my brother.
I had a very informative interview
It's frozen.
with Dr. Joanne Frederick about this.
All right, let me start it again.
For the world period, the death of award-winning actress and director Regina King's child brings extreme heartache through Hollywood and, of course, the black community. Like I said, everywhere. I mean, Regina is loved by everybody. I had a very informative interview with Dr. Joanne Frederick about the signs of suicide along with prevention just moments ago. And you got to pick up on some of those signs. You got to pay attention a lot, Shannon, because this comes out of nowhere. Sometimes you just see people who are full of life, and sometimes the happiest people. And that's why they always say, check on your strongest friends. Because sometimes your strongest friends are the ones that need the most help. I was one of those guys that always put on this strong facade, always happy, always trying to make everybody else happy. Meanwhile, I'm suffering in silence. So you never know who could be dealing with somebody. So always just check on them. Say, hey, man, you okay? Everything good? Even when you think they're happy, still check on your friends. Make sure you do that, and your family members.
And it's so important to get past the stigma associated with it. You talk about stronger people. Well, 78% of all people who die by suicide are actually men. That's according to the National Alliance on Mental Illness, because I think you talk about being strong. A lot of times men are supposed to be strong. They're not supposed to share their feelings. They have all these emotions, and they go through these things and don't know how to deal with them, don't know how to cope with them, and that's when the help comes in. That's when the mental health comes in. That's when talking to someone and checking on other people come into play. And don't forget about the guys that are involved in these suicides also, that are the fathers, the brothers, the cousins, because Ian had a father. He has a father, Ian Alexander Sr. You know, his feelings and his emotions are go into play of this. It's not just Regina King that's affected by this. All the men in his life also have to now cope with this too, which could cause depression or sadness that they're dealing with. So, and any time that people are going through this type of thing, surround them with love, prayer, care, and check on them. And not only in this situation, but in everyday life, check on them.
Yeah, and that's a really good point that you brought up, because a lot of people saying, and Regina, of course, is suffering, but Ian, his father, is going through the same thing. That's his son, and a son that, you know, you have a lot of questions and asking yourself, what more could you have done? Like I said, I lost a cousin last year, and her mom is still asking, what more could she have done? She didn't see this. Obviously, she was going through some things. Apparently, she was going through some things with her boyfriend, but you never think it's going to get to that point. But yeah, just check on people, because it's important, and know that if you're going through these things, that there are brighter days ahead. And I live my life one day at a time now, and I wake up every morning and I thank God for the blessing that he's given me. And I don't know how spiritual people are, but I'm very spiritual when it comes to that. Maybe not religious, but spiritual. I just thank God that I have breath in my body, because I always say that I'm far from perfect, but I'm better than most. And you have to understand that no matter how bad you think it is, sometimes you have it a lot better than a lot of people in this world, but you still have to continue to try, because tomorrow could be that day where everything turns around. So if you need help, there is help available. There's a lot of people to talk to. Once again, the suicide prevention hotline is out there, but also just your friends, your family, your pastors, everybody. Once again, 1-800-273-TALK is the suicide prevention lifeline that you can reach out to once again. And if you feel that way, please speak up, because, you know, you're leaving life behind, but also there are a lot of family members out there who always have these questions that they will never more than likely get the answer to as well.
Yeah, and don't forget that that is anonymous also. You don't have to tell them your name. You can just call them and just talk to them, and they'll talk you through your emotions and your feelings that you go through. If you don't think you could talk to somebody in your family, although there are a lot of people out there that I'm sure love you, even if you don't realize it. And even if you don't think someone loves you now, there could be a lot of people that can share your love in the future if you're here to share it. So stay.
Did your thing. I did my thing. I want you to tell me if it's locked up.
Can y'all hear?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know. I guess that person dropped off. So what is your thoughts, brothers? I mean, that's a blast from the past. Do we forget that Regina King, a beautiful actress, sister that we've grown up watching, she had a son. And same thing with the son. All the pictures with his mother, he was smiling. He had this look like everything was going well for him, but you never really know. And then he took his life to her, you know, surprise. And then, like the brother said there about this whole thing about when someone is strong and all of this, look, you can't be fooled because a dude got that alpha. That could all be a damn facade. And we know on YouTube, we got a lot of cats putting on facades. You know damn well, Freezy, I'm telling the truth, brother. You know it.
And listen, it's bad, man. And I'm gonna tell you something. I'm starting to question this whole, like, you know, there's a lot of good points in the manosphere, right? But I'm starting to question a lot of these guys that's making manosphere content. You know, a lot of these guys that are so-called successful in their own right, you know, and all of this egotistical talk that kind of, you know, when other men listen to them, that, you know, in regular society might be doing well for themselves, but it's so much comparison going on with so many people on YouTube, so many people are, looking for validation and stuff like that. There's a guy on your panel earlier that said, I forgot who it was, but man, it is important to, love yourself. But you know what, information man, sometimes somebody could feel so bad about themselves, they almost feel like it's impossible to love themselves.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So even trying to love yourself might not even be a possibility at the time. So we have to be careful. Black man, he alluded to, and I know exactly what he was talking about. There's a specific guy that said, if you delete yourself, that means you're weak. Go ahead and let him delete himself, because that means we don't need him anyway. Society doesn't need them anyway because you're weak. Let me tell you something, man. When I hear guys talk like that,
ignorant, bro.
Listen, I want see. They already think I'm a little ghetto information man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
You telling the truth, man.
When I hear men
Tell the
talk
truth.
like that, I want to say cuss words that I'll probably get banned from YouTube when I hear guys talk like that, man. Listen, and the reason why I take it so personal is because I've been there. I've been there where I've contemplated deletion. Yeah, and let me tell you something. Something is wrong when you think about deletion and it makes you feel better.
Man,
listen. I have been in a place of anguish mentally.
You preaching, boy.
When I think about deleting myself, even though I'm not actually going to, it just makes me feel better that I have that option.
Right.
That's the problem.
And wait a minute, I feel what you're saying, because that was the same place that I was in, where I didn't give a damn if I woke up the next day.
Exactly.
Because you know why? Because what I was living through was my own personal hell.
I feel you, man. I feel you. And let me tell you something. Hell looks good a lot of times on the outside. You understand what I'm saying? It looks good. We make it look good. And think about DJ Twitch. I didn't even know. Shout out to Mandrell. I didn't even know DJ Twitch and Mandrell's sister Shushu went to the same high school. This man grew up in Alabama, right? Think about the culture shock, and think about what the kind of changes in life that he actually went through, that he probably never expressed himself to anybody. He was probably around a certain crowd in the industry where he felt inadequate to say, man, I don't feel like I fit in. I come from Alabama, I come from this little small country town. He probably, and I'm just going out on a limb, he probably was trying so hard to keep up this facade, this industry facade, and was just so unhappy. And I'm gonna tell you something, what the problem I have with black people. We can sing together, we can dance together, but guess what? We cannot talk together. We can't. Listen, but 24 hours before DJ Twitch deleted himself, him and his wife, they was dancing so good. I rewinded that junk back about 20 times.
But see, that's the thing. It goes both ways. The dancing and everything that you saw him doing could also be the facade, or the dancing and the things he was doing on the show could be a coping skill. And remember, I'm going to go back to this because I think Black Man Unfiltered said this on his channel. When the show was canceled, I wonder, many of us have to wonder if that show being canceled impacted him in some kind of way, because maybe through that show, it was giving him a coping mechanism to keep himself from taking himself out, because maybe when he was on that show dancing and doing what he was doing, it was giving him something to hold himself together. Now, you may say, well, shouldn't his family had done that? And I have to say, maybe yes, but it don't always work out that way. It's my daughter.
But even though you said
You're
that,
absolutely right, because on the show, Ellen, every day he came out, she's like, everybody, DJ Twitch. And he will be on the ones and twos. And he'd be in the audience dancing with audience members and hugging them and dancing with them. And then he would interact with the audience with the mic. He'd go up in the audience with the microphone. How are you today? We got somebody here from Atlanta. Rep your city. He'd turn the music up there, dance again. He'd go hug Ellen, sit and interview with Ellen. You know what I'm saying? Like every day she had his ass busy. And one day she had a show, bro. You got to go see it. One day she called him out and said, Twitch, I want you to know something. You changed my life. The person you are changed my life. When I was in the darkest places of my life, when I feel like giving up on the show, when my ratings were down, you were the one that changed my life 10 years ago to keep going. You were that guy. And I'm grateful for you. I'm forever loving. She just cried. They hugged each other. And I bet right now she got them devastated. I bet she did. But she did say his kids and his wife would never want for anything. That's what Ellen said. Ellen said the kids will go to college. They will get their first cars. They will be financially stable for the rest of their life.
Let me go ahead and do this. Let me welcome brother Tunania. I hope I'm saying that correct. I know you from brother Dynas channel, and I hear you over there speaking with him many times, and making very good points on brother Dynas channel, the Prince himself. I want to hear your perspective, brother, and thank you for coming on. I think it's the first time you've been on my platform like this, but I want to hear your perspective.
Yeah, thanks for having me over, and greetings to everyone on the panel and the chat and the viewers. I think it's a very serious topic, and from the context of what I've heard many, even Nigerians, in discussions we've been having recently, and I can tell you that I've seen grown men crying on YouTube because they want to escape the West.
Tell the truth.
From home. And when you put that in context with all what African Americans have gone through, I can't even start imagining. And this is a situation they have lived through for how many 100 years. These are just Nigerians that just left recently and crying on the phone, on YouTube channels. They need to fix the country that they want to leave. They want to get back to the country. And some of them are losing their minds. Because men need to have a purpose. Men need to feel like they are in control of their environment.
Facts.
And when these things are taken away from them, it's often very difficult to adapt. And I must say, from afar, looking at how African American men and the society, the community has held themselves up till now, it's quite a feat to be able to pull off. And that environment is very hostile. I can't even start imagining it. And so the question is, for the community anyway, is how do they restore the purpose of a man within their community? Because what is going on right now, even I can see the images. I don't like what I'm seeing. They are putting images out to make it look like the community are feminized, the men. And, and there's a lot of disturbing images. And the other day, an African American woman asked the question that, have they ever seen a black man rescuing an African American woman in any dangerous situation in any movie? I can't remember any. The women are made masculine and the men are feminized. And I can't even imagine how people survive that, because African Nigerian men think like they are gods. You look at how they walk around thinking like they are gods. It's not like they are even that powerful. But you guys live there, and all these things are pumped into your communities, and you feel like you have to adapt all the time, and you wonder why some men, those men, I don't consider them traitors. Some of them are weak or anything like that, because some of them are the best of us, actually. There are men that didn't get on that ship and just jumped off the ship, and instead of going into slavery, they died. So some people can't take it. They can't exist in a situation where they don't feel like they are able to be fulfilled. For me, personally, I'm in the West too, so I know I have a feeling of what this is like. The only thing that gives me peace is to appreciate every second as perfection for what, because in the end, it's your mind. Your mind is the one that you can control. You can't control what other people do and what people throw at you. You have to give yourself the peace and appreciate every second of life, because while you are alive, there is hope. There are things you can do. I think I heard the gentleman say something about the uncle that was like a robot. I think that is almost, for me, when I hear that, I hear, yeah, it's almost divine to me anyway. When you see men that feel like their purpose is to do certain things, at least it's got a purpose that he feels like he needs to fulfill. And I wish he had more opportunities to do more for his people. And I think that's what we need to start finding, purpose for our lives. And when we start getting that, I think, this idea of needing to commit suicide or feeling sad and stuff like that, most of it will go away. There's always going to be suffering in life. We just have to choose ours for a purpose. If it's to protect our women, children, communities, that generally, that is the one that really fulfills men. And I hope that, within the community, they can start having some serious conversations, because we are having it in Africa ourselves. Because no matter how you look at it, we are copying a lot of things from you guys. They are becoming westernized too. They are all on Instagram, YouTube, everywhere. So we're having that serious conversation on our continent and saying, on the continent, saying, what are the things that we can take in and the things that has to be pushed back on. And I'm here to learn, just as I am here to contribute. And I hope that conversation is hard.
I really appreciate you coming over and sharing your wisdom with us. I think that is important. I think we do live in a society now, especially here in the West, in America, where the roles, the definition of what a man is and what a woman is has been twisted all around. And men, like you said, we have to have a purpose. Our goal is to build, to create society, to have a purpose, to solve problems. And a lot of times men and masculinity has been under attack, and some men don't feel as adequate in their role or knowing what their role is. But we also, I want to bring this up because when I was Black Men Unfiltered, definitely I want you to hear this, brother. When I was on your show the other night and you had a guest on there, and I brought up an issue about temperament, and your guest thought that I was getting into a whole nother area that I wasn't getting into, because this is a biological fact that we're all born, no matter what race you are, with a different temperament, meaning we all have a threshold for how much bullshit we're going to put up with, right? Before we lose our heads. Some of us can be more cool under certain fire or pressure to a certain degree, and some of us have a shorter fuse. That's everybody across the board. That's my daughter in there. She's having fun in her room. That's what y'all hearing. But I'm going to stop right there because I want to make sure that everybody understands what I really meant by that statement when I was on your show that night. You see, I'm going to stop right there.
Now, I'm going to add to that. To Niger, we both from Africa, both from Nigeria, right? Bawani. I want you to let information know this. We come to the Nigerian people and we're dealing with legacy. We're dealing with our last name. We're dealing with pride. We're dealing with expectation. The amount of pressure African parents put on their kids, it's unrealistic. Am I wrong to Niger?
I don't know whether it's unrealistic because some of them excel and get it done. To be fair, if you ask me, I'm not very sympathetic to our people because if you look at our achievements so far, it's below par, and we need to do better personally. And if you think maybe it's the pressure of parents, I don't know. The Chinese people were putting drips in their children just to make sure that children are able to do exams. And look at where they are today. So you tell me whether our parents are pushy enough compared to the Asians. So
and I get that.
So we are behind. And you see, if you are behind in a race, You can't slow down. Recently, I just had a Nigerian couple saying that they're having what they call maternity break. I didn't know that they had anything like, no, not maternity break, I mean marriage break. That when you get married, you go on holidays for 2 months. I was like, how can a society that is behind be going on holidays for 2 months because you got married? You see, there are certain cultures that we practice on the continent that doesn't seem to aid us in catching up with the other groups. And if our parents are being pushy to make up for some of all those things, so be it. See, there are always going to be sacrifices one way or the other because we're already dying. Let's not make mistakes about this thing. This is a life or death situation here. A 5-foot Asian man being able to do better than a 7-foot African man, that's a problem. We have to be ready for sacrifices here, because if you look at what the Russians did, they lost 20 million people. The Chinese going to this is 50 million to where they go to. They made the necessary sacrifices, and I can't sit here and tell you that just because an African mother wants you to study engineering or doctorate degree or something, that is pressure. Men, look at the price the others have paid. They pay the heavy price, way heavier than that. So let's really start looking at.
And I agree. But what I'm saying, sometimes it don't seem too much. But when I see a lot of our fellow brothers and sisters in Nigeria get to the point whereby they follow the American trend of deleting themselves, I start to wonder where this coming from. Because when I was there for 7 years, I don't see that. When after I left, slowly but steadily, it started to pick out of nowhere. And I thought the question, yet the Japanese, the Chinese, the Indian put way more pressure on the kid than we do. But when I start seeing that same trend happen, that's when I start to be concerned about it. I said, where is this coming from? Where is it happening? Why is it happening? You know what I'm saying?
Because we have to achieve more. We have not done enough. We are over 1.4 billion on that continent, one of the richest continents on the face of the earth. We have been given more than enough. If the God somewhere, the God will be like, I've given you more than every other group on earth. And you're walking around like Esau, trading it away. Because you know what? Are we afraid of pain? Why are the others able to make the necessary sacrifices, but we are not? Personally, I don't sympathize with anybody that tells our men, you know what? Simmer down, don't man up and do what is necessary. Historically, 40% of men even make it to procreate. That is the sacrifice that men make for their societies and their heritage. And I think we've lost a bit of sight of that, and we need to get it back, because it's killing us and it's killing our men because they are dying without a purpose now. That is the whole topic here. If that same man died on the battlefield or building something, or like the guy that was doing some research regarding radiation, that is for a purpose. It has to be purposeful now, because we have been wasting our lives for what? I don't understand it, and I don't sympathize with Africans that like to talk about, oh, we have to do this, we have to baby ourselves. What babying are you talking about? Are we children here? We're grown up like every other man on this earth. Europeans have paid the blood price for their achievements today. What have we done? Especially the continentals. Sorry, I just don't sympathize with us crying about that. That's my take.
I appreciate, because sometimes when I say that out of my mouth, the thing that's going to be speaking, when I see another Nigerian brother say and think about the thing I see myself, they will know that it's not just me alone.
Well, let me just say this. It's obvious to me that we have some problems, not only here in America, but as black men, we have some international problems. And I don't mean that to be disrespectful, but we've got some problems globally. And my guess, reason why you're seeing that in the continent of Africa, and I'm not going to sit up here and act like I'm an expert on this and what's happening in Africa, but I think would you agree or disagree that the Western society that black men or black people are growing up in has started to take its tentacles, and it has gone into the continent and other parts of the world where people are thriving to be Western because that's what's being thrown at them as the way to go. And therefore, they're inheriting our bad habits. For example, I live in California. Do you know that the health disparities between Japanese people that live in America versus in Japan, based on their diet and what they eat, that Japanese people live a lot longer in Japan than they do live in America, and other groups just the same, because there's something poison not only in our environment in America, but our philosophy, our culture is all about what? Be an individual. Damn the collective. Hell with everybody else. It's just all about me. Focus on me. And while we focus on just ourselves, we can have a brother, a best friend, someone that we know that's suffering, and we don't even know that they're suffering because we're so focused on the self and not the collective, that now your own someone that you've known for years that you thought was strong is falling apart inside. And now it's a big surprise to you because we're all being taught to be individuals. There's nothing wrong with going to school, getting a good job, or opening up your own business and taking care of your family. That's what you're supposed to do. But we also should think about the fact that collectively, some of our people are dying, and men are dying in silence. And I don't think anybody gives a damn about it, specifically when it comes to black men. Gentlemen, I'm going to get ready to wrap this up very soon. So what I need to do is have all of you give your great statements for conclusion of this show. I'm going to say this right now. It was very important for us to have a global perspective with brothers on the panel who are from the continent to give that perspective as well. It adds balance to the program today. Very important. But let's go ahead. We got brother Mike. I don't think I had a chance to talk to Mike. Go ahead and give your statements before we wrap it up. I'm going to go through Mike and go through everybody in a circle, and then we're going to end the program from there. So Mike, go ahead, brother. Your last thoughts.
Thank you, Information Man, for having me on the show.
No problem.
Appreciate it. I just want to make a very quick statement, kind of like put this out there, but I was a victim of domestic violence and dealing with mental health, where my wife would walk up, spit in my face, punch me, hit me, throw things, push me, all kind of stuff, man. And I dealt with this stuff for years. I came out as a domestic violence victim, and I worked with the city and county 25 years plus. Nothing. I didn't get nothing, absolutely nothing. I went to my healthcare provider, and this, Information Man, they do not specialize when it comes down to domestic violence and what we like to call personality disorder, which is a narcissist.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So when these women see this kind of stuff that their mother have done, imagine that, man. Your mother abused your father, spitting in his face, hitting him, slapping him, and doing all this kind of nonsense. And the mother got away with it. And that was 30 years ago, 40 years ago. You understand? They watched the grandmother do it. You understand? To the grandfather. Now, the younger women are doing this kind of behavior. And they're getting away with it because men are not telling. You understand? We just accept this abuse and put our head down. You understand? I reported it to the police. They did absolutely nothing because they look at me. I'm 5'11", 190 pounds, about 8% body fat. You understand? So if I wanted to do something to somebody, I could do it very easy.
You could do it.
With no problem.
Part of the problem is that we live in our society, brother. Men are usually seen as the predators, and women are usually seen as the prey. And because women are seen as a protective group, when men do report abuse coming from women, you're seen as, oh, you're weak, it's laughable, everyone wants to giggle about it and what have you. Now, on the flip side of that, we do know that we have young females who have been sexually abused by teachers, and these things happen, but no one often wants to deal with or talk about the abuse sexually that boys are getting from females abusing them sexually, like teachers and even parents. That's a whole nother topic. I don't want to open up that whole can of worms here tonight, right now, but that's just a little breakdown going into what you're talking about. It is real. And the reality is that if you were to put your hands back on that woman, then society would say that you are a bad guy because you harmed a female, and that's not what men are supposed to do. And so it's really it's crazy.
Even raising your voice, information man, you can't even raise your voice. Even if I was to raise my voice, you understand? I just want to make one last comment.
Yes, sir.
I was sleeping in the car, right? And she was driving about 140 miles per hour. And the only thing that woke me up was I went, because I never went that fast in a car before. You understand? I reported it. I've told the mother, the father, nothing. Nobody does anything about it.
Right.
And I've been
But
going through this for a very long time.
Right. I think things won't change until men continue to have these kind of dialogues and come together. But I think men have to come together and recognize that these things are very real. We have to advocate for each other. We have to be each other's best advocate. The difference between men and women, as I move on to another person, is that women, if you notice, they're very good at advocating for themselves. They'll take it as far as to the White House, as far as to the government. They'll push the issue to get what they want. Sometimes we as men think that we're too tough to advocate and take it to that next level. So we have to continue speaking about these issues, making them very real, but we also have to advocate and do something about it to change what we do not appreciate or we do not want. First of all, we have to I'm going to say for the purpose of the show today, we have to recognize that mental health is very real. It's very real in men. It's very real within the black community and with black people globally. We have to get out of this denial, which is one of our biggest weaknesses right now, the denial factor. So I really appreciate you telling us tonight. All of us have spilled some beans about ourselves tonight. And I have said some things personal that I wouldn't normally just talk about, but I think it's important to be very honest. And I'm not ashamed of it, right? I was at a place in my life too, where I was like, man, I don't even want to wake up from my sleep. And a lot of us have had, look, this is how it works in mental health.
Exactly.
Everybody, look, I'm 53 years old. If you live any life, you're going to have ups and downs and evers and flows. So nobody on this panel or anybody that's watching can't tell me that they had moments where they were highly depressed and then they were highly happy, right? They've gone up and down. They had situational stressors. They lost somebody, they lost a job, or something didn't go right, or a relationship went bad. We're going through ups and flows every day or every other week or whatever happens. Hell, you can get stressed out just driving your damn car up and down the freeway, dealing with some of these fools on the damn freeways. Okay, shit, it's enough to kill you before you get to the house. Exactly. But anyway, let me stop right there, and let me go to the pill here. Go ahead and give us your last powerful statements, brother.
I want to say shout out to all the brothers, man. I appreciate this platform with other brothers who, you know what I'm saying, who have been able to be vulnerable about mental health and things of that nature. I also want to say this. If anything else fails, 988 is the hotline number. That's a new hotline number. It's universal. You can text it or call it. If you can't find nobody else, man, don't feel like you alone. If you don't have no brothers to reach out to, and you feel like you in a place where you can't function, 988. I've used it personally, and it does work. 988, and take advantage and seek other platforms on the internet, because there are some out there that are specific to our needs as black men and black people and dealing with mental health. Thank you for letting me up on your platform, and I appreciate the conversation. Everybody up here, man. This is real talk.
I appreciate you being here, and this is how we do it on my program. We try to have intelligent talk. Not everybody yapping at each other in disrespectful ways, because this is too serious of an issue to be downgrading it. Real Aaron Collins, you've been patient. I know you're out there in LA, and I know you've seen a lot in the way Hollywood goes. Remember Robin Williams I gotta be honest, I like Robin Williams. You know, I grew up watching him as a kid when he was on Mork and Mindy and all that sort of stuff, and you saw what happened to him. And guess I've actually met the man before. When I was in high school, I used to work at this theater in San Francisco. He used to come in with his kids all the time. He was a pretty nice guy, right? From what I knew from the outer side. But once again, he took his life and didn't tell anybody anything.
And he made millions of people laugh every day.
Right.
Millions of people just loved and adored that man. And he was dying on the inside, brother.
Dying on the inside. But real Aaron Collins, with you being out there in the industry, brother, give us your great thoughts before we come to conclusion tonight. I think there's some, you know what, Aaron, I think there's some technical things going on, man, because I'm not hearing you that loud, and it's like a lot of interference.
Yeah, he needs
come. You know what? Come. Yeah. Aaron, put some headphones on. Come back out and come back in. Come back. Leave out and come back in. I'll just drop a link in the chat room for you again if you need it. Because I think they say that when you're on this system, it's best to put some kind of headset on because it cuts down on the all the echoes and all that other kind of effects. Let me see. Freezy, brother, give it to us, man. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, this has been a great show, man. Shows like this always warms my heart, and it gives me comfort that I know brothers that have gone through the same thing, or is going through the same thing that I've gone through, and probably going to go through in the future. And let's just face it, it's hard for all men compared to women out here in society. But imagine how hard it is for the lowest economic demographic man in America, the black man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's a big highlight that I think we need to understand, that if it's bad for men in general, imagine how bad it is for the black man in general. And I just want to, and I'm gonna tell you something. Most of the men that's deleting themselves are responsible men. If you look at the demographics, the guys that actually care may be too much at times. And
it's guys, let me just say this. It seems like it's guys who actually have careers too. It's not just the guys who are, people assume that it's just black men who are hooked on drugs and are strung out on the streets, right? No, you got black men that are kings of industry who have great jobs, college education, master's degree, or they have some skilled trade, or they have a business and they're doing it. So this goes past your socioeconomic background.
Exactly. And so many times they try to put that that label or that image on that deletion image on somebody homeless, or like you said, somebody that has a drug problem. No, a lot of those men are dads or businessmen, or successful businessmen, or in the industry, or whatnot, right? Business owners. A lot of these men they share one thing in common. It's a lot of pressure that's built up that they were not able to release, in any kind of way. And I don't want to encourage all men this. Listen, find an outlet. You have to find an outlet. Talk. Especially black men, seek therapy. It's not, I know it's taboo and it's not a popular subject matter to even talk about in the black community. And I know that, when I was growing up, let me tell you something. When I was growing up, my dad said that anybody that goes to see a psychologist, they was crazy. Or if they had to go see a shrink or sit on somebody's couch, they was crazy as hell. And I always thought that as a young boy that something was wrong with people who had to go see somebody. It was because and I realized it's just such a big stigma in the black community, and it's so unfair. It's so unfair for us to even look at therapy in that type of way. So we have to find some type of outlet. We have to. And listen, also on the flip side, not the person dealing with the problem, but if you have a friend or wives, if you have husbands, or husbands if you have wives, ask them how they're doing, and don't just ask, don't just stop there. Go deeper. Is there anything you have to tell me? Are you sure? Are you depressed? Use keywords that they might be afraid to use, and you'll be surprised that actually builds trust. You know, like if my wife asks me, "Are you depressed? Are you
Facts.
having anxiety?" Listen, if she says it before I do, it does something to me. Like, dang, you know what I'm saying? Like I could trust her. Like, she said it before I did, and that's what we have to start doing. Also with each other in our own race, we have to
Right.
start saying stuff before the other person does. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just to show them that we care just that much. You
Right.
know.
Let me
But
just
hey,
say this real quick, if I can. Freezy, I appreciate you. Let me just say this real quick. I think this is a very important component too. Today, kids, teenagers, they all got their damn faces and their fingers in these phones, playing around with their thumbs and looking at phones, right? No verbal skills because they're all just texting. It's important for us as fathers because this deletion starts very young. Because, like I read the statistics tonight, if you weren't here earlier, look at the video over again. I talked about how this is impacting young black boys as well as black girls. It's important for us as fathers as well as mothers to talk to our kids and have real conversations with them and find a time to eliminate these damn cell phones and have your kids have a real conversation with you beside them just playing around with the damn Xboxes and the PlayStations and the damn cell phones left and right. That's a very important aspect to this. Freezy, did you want to say one other thing, brother, before I go to the next person?
oh yeah, I wanted to say, I know everybody is not spiritual, but that helps me out a lot. When I tap into the Most High and my belief, I almost kind of feel, everybody is entitled to have their own belief, but I'm just telling you that has basically saved my life. So, spirit to me, the mind is in direct correlation with spirituality. You know, what we have to understand the things that we can't see and stop praising things that we can. And just want to leave you guys with that. And shout out to the chat as well. They showed me a lot of love as well. And information, man. We go we go back, man. So thank you, man,
Right.
for having
But
me on your channel.
this is what you have to do before you get out of here. Let everybody know about your channel, where they can find you on social media, brother.
Okay, listen. You know what? You caught me on a special day, information, man, because I just hit 500 subscribers. I don't know what to do with myself. My channel is No Captivity with Freezy. That's NO and then CAP dash Tivity. No Captivity with Freezy. Go check me out and subscribe. Be a part of the No Cap crew.
Now, what I plan to do when this video processes itself and I wrap everything up tonight, I'm going to go back into the video and put your YouTube channel as well as Black Men Unfiltered and whoever into the description of the video. So I'll do that as well. But everybody definitely follow this brother. Check out his channel. He's positive. I've been on a bunch of panels with him on these YouTube streets. And he's definitely a brother that is got logic, intelligent, and you can have a real conversation. I really appreciate that from you, brother. Let me do this because I'm going to let Black Men Unfiltered take us on home because I brought him on as a guest. And as well as I need to bring him back on for an interview, as well as you, Freezy. I got to interview you too. I got so much stuff I got to do. So little time, but so many things I want to do, but we'll do it. Real Aaron Collins, I'm going to bring you over. I know you're using the cell phone. Hopefully the sound will come out a little bit better. And I appreciate once again, brother Freezy. I give him a clap again. Now, Aaron, give us your great words as we get ready to close this out tonight.
All right, brothers. Hope y'all can hear me. I'm actually using my tablet, but I just wanted to say that basically in the society that we live in what's called cancel culture, and that's basically one of the main things that we're having black men with the issues we have. We saw what just recently happened with Kanye West and Kyrie Irving. That how when we make one mistake, we're expected to go on apology tours and to just ask and beg for mercy. Whereas when other groups do it, they're given a slap on the wrist, or if someone says anything against black people, well, it's not taken as seriously. So we've been that's one of the other pressures that's put on us, part of the annihilation that we face. And see, basically what's happening right now is basically the virtual extinction of what Willie Lynch started. So what they couldn't do physically with us, now they're trying to do on a media type of level, and as well as a virtual level. That's why we have all these gender wars and all these other things. It was all a plot from the annals of time. It was all something from the highest powers that be to have us against each other. And black men have always been the boogeymen in society, been the predators, the scary guy has always been depicted as a black villain. So that's something else we need to take in consideration, which is why in the media, like you said, information man, I work in the entertainment industry. That's why we need to be in charge of our own images in media. I was listening to Professor Griff one time, and he broke down media. He did it so smoothly. He said media, if you break down the letter, stands for mass ethnic destruction in America. And basically, really, it's what it's doing because it's aimed toward us. That's why you have all the images of black people as the jigaboos and the nannies and stuff like that, because they've always wanted us to have a poor self-image of ourselves to begin with. That's why we need to be in charge of our images by putting wholesome images of who we truly are. We are a strong people, and we are a beautiful people. I love our people, but we have so much work to do, but we need to start waiting on someone else to do it and do it ourselves, what needs to be done in our community. Basically, like the old saying goes, be the change that you want. And that goes for myself as well. But this has been a great topic, and I appreciate it, and it's much needed. It's something that really needs to be talked about. Once again, mental health has always been an elephant in the black community room.
Right, brother. Well, Real Aaron Collins, I thank you for coming on tonight and giving I'm glad you was able to get the sound together and everyone heard you clearly. I appreciate you. I'll see you very soon again. Let me give you a clap, brother. Appreciate you. And of course, I know you have a YouTube channel as well. You are on social media. You've been on a lot of panels in the past with me, and I appreciate you again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up Nigel, then go to Black David, and then we're going to go to Black Man Unfiltered and let him bring us on home to glory. Nigel, my brother from the motherland, hit us with some wisdom.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And this topic, as serious as it is, and I think it's a very, very sensitive one. And I believe that the part out of the worst aspects of this would be for the black men in America to work together. And they need to be having more conversation, and they need to be associating with each other a lot more, because it's a lot of hindrances and issues in the way. And the social media, everybody's on their own and stuff like that. So it keeps people apart. We see these people, they can literally influence your moods. And like you said, some of the people that are actually doing these things are actually successful people. So you have to ask yourself why they are resorting to type of these measures. And it must have something to do with an idea of hopelessness. And an idea of what is the point. I think that men have to recover their culture, the masculine culture that they belong to. Because if you don't, because that's what this society is doing right now, and I'm not appreciate it. I don't understand their reasoning for it. Why they feel like they need to feminize the men and make the women this masculine. I My own suspicion is that it's just all about family planning, whereby if you misalign the sexes, they are not likely to come together and have as many children as possible. For whatever purpose they want to do that, they are the ones setting the agenda, not the ones setting the agenda, and we need to push back on that. For you to do that, one person cannot do it together. This is a group effort. And the black men, this is not, you cannot expect the women to do the job. When the black men get their act together, you find that the women will, for all societies, the men set the agenda. When the Arab men says that the women should wear burqa, the women wear burqa. Afghani men said the women should not go to school, the women will not go to school. Western men say that women can do whatever they like. Same goes. So in our community, you find that uniquely, not totally in control. The ones on the continent have an element of control in terms of what is going on within, socially within the community. But I think the African American community and many of our diaspora ones have started losing control of that. And I can see that even in Nigerian men that have left Nigeria and gone to the West. And that needs to start. Everybody needs to be working more and more together. And the sad truth is, when I look at the US, I don't see a common agenda within the Black American community. I don't see a common agenda that says, you know what, this is our target, this is what we want to achieve, this is what we want to do. And it's almost like the agenda is the pan-European agenda that the country is following. But I don't think that is healthy. You have to have your own agenda for your people. Otherwise, they will change your people the way that doesn't fit. And then you start having these problems. You see what I mean? Yeah. And the same problem is coming to the continent too. And we are having this discussion to forestall some of those things. The difference with the continent compared to the US is that we have Muslims there too. And those Muslims are very conservative. They are not taking prisoners. So they just like shut it down. Like if you bring anything LGBT, shut it down. Shut it down. But you don't have that in the US. And the whole thing is open. And we really need to address that. And when you start addressing those things and the men start feeling like their voice is being heard, they are actually listening to their families and the rest of it, you start seeing that this thing go away because they now have a priority to protect their people, to protect their women, and to protect their heritage. Because the truth is, that is the whole purpose of a man. And I don't think any man should be worrying about whether a woman is, if a woman is trying to attack you, just leave her, you walk away. Your job is not to worry about that. Walk away from her and go and focus on things that is going to allow you to empower that woman to raise your children to be the best men that they can be, or the best women they can be. Because in the end, it's about quality. If you start raising quality men, quality children, women will fall in line. They will all fall in line with you. And the Black American men don't have anything to apologize. You know, you people are very, very, these people follow the examples you set. So this thing about suicide, it needs to be tamed with you guys working together. It really needs to happen. And the ones on the continent they are trying to run back to the continent because they are crying. They are losing their minds here. I've had people, when they are talking, they sound like they are losing their minds and they want out. And it's only by working together that you can do it. My own is, somebody once said that you have to have negative kind of meditation, whereby you imagine some of the worst things that can ever happen to you and still be okay. Because if you cannot be able, because this war, for me anyway, we are in a struggle here for our lives and our families' lives. You have to imagine all the worst things that can happen to you and still be at peace that I will see this through, no matter what. I will see this through. And when you start looking at the world like that, nothing disappoints you anymore to an extent, and whatever hits you, there. And I believe this is its skill that most of the other group haven't lost, and they've maintained it and they pushed through. And I can tell you, I can give you 1,001 excuse, but the key is African American community, the men, and also maybe the ones that can travel, they should be traveling more, cultural stuff. I know for a fact that most of the men and women and families here in the UK that have taken their children and visited their home countries and brought the children back, the children generally do better than the ones that never saw the continent once. So there is a reason for that, because that Western perspective is all the children know. They don't know anything else. And I think there is something to be said for traveling to the continent and seeing a people that look like you, that operate, especially you see the men. You see how the men behave. They take the things African American men crave for granted on the continent. So when you see the type of things, you recharge yourself and you come back here and you pass it on. Because to have that done to start the healing process, I don't know how serious this problem is, but from hearing what you are saying, it appears that it's really, really deep. And I really hope that you guys can work together to heal this. And I think when you do, that works.
Well, Nanji, I agree with what you're saying, that we have to work together. We have to have an agenda. Unfortunately, in America, we have so many black people that are split into so many different factions. You got black conservatives, black liberals. We can't work together. Then you have black people that are split up in their various religious beliefs and practices. I don't know. I don't want to be disrespectful here, but it's almost similar to in the continent where you have tribalism. I think some of our tribalism in America can be helpful, but it can also be detrimental, because the tribalism of unifying amongst those that you have things in common with is powerful, but it can also destroy you from the collective whole. But I agree with you that we do need to introduce our kids to more about their culture, where they come from. We need to be traveling. You're absolutely right, because the best education is when you travel and you actually see these places versus reading in a damn book, a book, or you look at some movie. You can learn some things, but it's actually even better when you're actually there around the people to learn from the actual people in the culture who can teach you some things. So I give you that. I think a part of mental health is doing things to help you cope. And I believe that doing things like traveling, talking to one another, all of those are part of what we would call coping skills to decrease the depression. Because I'm going to tell you, in my work capacity, most of the guys that I see who are less active, they're not doing anything physically, they're not exercising, they're sleeping every day, they're the ones that's spiraling down. In my work capacity, I'm trying to get them to start being active and do things to spark something going. So I want to appreciate you for coming over today, and giving us those powerful words. But before I go to Black David, is there anything else you wanted to say?
Yeah, you mentioned something about, the community being a little bit fragmented because of different ideologies and different things. But every one of them, I can assure you, have one thing in common. They want for the greater good of the African American community, every single one of them. And that is where you want to start from. Because none of them want their children to do worse than they are doing. So you start from and you work together. Ideology, this is not about ideology. The only ideology there should be is for the betterment of the community.
Betterment for the community. That's right. That's right. That's right. Let me give you a clap there. Yeah. That's what it's about. Brother, thank you. Don't be a stranger. And of course, I'll always, every now and then, I tune in over at brother. I'm losing my mind right now. Uhuru, search for Uhuru. That's because I'm tired, brother. Search for Uhuru. I always catch you over there when I watch his program, and I mod over there, and I hear you get on the panel, and I see how you speak and how you kind of have to tell people when they're wrong about stuff that they don't know what they're talking about. But I appreciate you blessing us with your time over here tonight. Let me go over to Black David. Let him bless us with some words, and then I'm going to have Black Man Unfiltered take us on home to glory. Come on over here, brother Black David. Give us some good stuff, Black David, and then we're going to let Black Man Unfiltered take us home.
It's good to hear another African brother speaking on things that we see ourselves, because for one, I will say this: we need to be our brother keepers. We need to be aware what's going on with our brothers and our brotherhood, because I always vouch for having a strong brotherhood, but when you have a strong brotherhood, we should make the voluntary effort to keep our brothers in check and check on them. I call Black Man, I call Mandrell, I call Jedi Mike, If I had Yeezy, I'll do the thing to you information, man, because you know why we can't do it by ourselves. The world
That's
we live in
facts.
right now, it's finding its way trying to destroy the black man stronghold. As a man, as a black man, there's so much that's on our back. I'm a father and a grandfather. That is my motivation to make sure I raise my son, I raise my daughter, I raise my granddaughter and my grandson to be
I can
better
hear
than
the family now. That's right.
yeah, that's my son right here playing games. I keep telling him I'm on the show, but he don't listen to me. But either way, it is what it is. I'm always mostly on Black Men Unfiltered channel to let my views whatever is needed. Sometimes I watch, I share my likes, I do what I can. I share his videos. I'm sometimes also a Health Speak Network, but I do have my own channel, mostly about tech. I'm an IT professional for 21 years and counting. I like to share information that educate our people in those areas. But
And you have a tech channel, and I will, like I said before, I'll embed your channel into the description of this video
I put a
too.
link in the back channel. So
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
the thing about me is this: I'm the kind of brother I want to help anyone I can whenever I get the chance to. I know I can't do it by myself. I can't walk this world by myself. Nor can you, nor can any of our brother do that. We need to help our brothers one way or the other. Call the hotline, reach out to a brother, call somebody. If you have to, let's schedule a day we can go out to get some coffee. Spend some time, we have this conversation, break the thing down so we can understand what the source of the problem and we'll work on it. It is needed. We can never do it on our own. And that's the problem. I will say this, ladies, don't make it seem that what we go through is just a minor thing. It's not a minor thing. Even the strongest of us can easily be broken down without you even seeing it. So we need to change it now. We need to start working on ourselves as a community and start working on our young people as well. Because I'm hearing that it's a lot. And therefore, on Black Men Unfiltered channel, I said it. My main view is our youth should be off social media because they don't need to be there because they need to get their mind developed properly first. Yet I get it. You can use it for a lot of things, but if they're not meant to be prepared
Mm-hmm.
for bombardment, I'm being in the IT field long enough to know that it's not safe for kids. And I
Mm-hmm.
stand on it. My kid don't have a social media profile. I'm not gonna let them till they turn 18. Until then, I need to develop this first with them.
The mind. That's right. Mm-hmm.
One day mind is strong enough, then I can say, you know what, you can venture in. Because for the past 5 years, it's been on the news. A lot of youth, because of social media, have been deleting themselves. And I'm a parent and I know better. We've been telling young parents for years, for a decade, don't let your kid be on the web unsupervised.
Mm-hmm.
You
Facts.
don't know what you don't know what they do on these platforms. And as a professional, I have been to a lot of homes. I got accused for downloading something on somebody's PC, and I told her, ma'am, the one thing about PC, it's a dumb machine, but it will snitch on you. Look at the
Mm.
date, look at the time, look at the profile. Whose profile is this? Was I here during this date and time? And this is
Mm-hmm.
what I get from them? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to say that I do believe that social media can be a detriment to our youth's mindset and their health because I think Black Men Unfiltered and Real Aaron Collins, remember there was an incident where I think it was a young lady who took her life because she wasn't getting enough likes on her post on Facebook. I think it was on Facebook. This that our kids today are growing up and they are defining who they are and their purpose in life based on how many likes that they get on social media or that people didn't like their post or what have you. So it can be dangerous, and that's why we got to somehow take the gadgets out of our kids' hands and start having real conversations with them. So
Now, this a free gem. Bill Gates, the man who created Microsoft, don't let his own kid be on any device more than 2 hours a day.
right, and if I'm not mistaken, in China, they have TikTok set up in such a way that the kids in China can only use TikTok for maybe an hour or 30 minutes, and that's it. They put
Bingo.
safety, they put measures on it. But in America, it can be all hose bail. Nobody gives a damn. So wow. But Black David, I want to.
You don't attack me for vouching about that.
Right. Well, look, Black David. Everybody, check out Black David's channel. I did drop a link in the chat room. That's a link from his channel. I think something that he was doing on his channel, but I do have his channel up here. I am subscribed to it. I will put the link to his channel in the description of this video, along with Brother Freezy.
Burnout.
I dropped Burnout in the chat room, so that episode is in there. Look for Burnout, ladies and gentlemen. I dropped that in the chat room as well.
Because this is tied to this conversation, because I didn't realize how dangerous it was. And
right.
And she watch it anyway because she's a nurse and she don't play around with black men. She love her black men.
Right. So let me give you a clap, brother. There we go. All right. CBN Text Talk. Brother, I'll see you again for another fine discussion, definitely on Black Men Unfiltered's channel. And whenever I have a panel discussion here on a subject that's up your alley, definitely would love to have you come back on over. Well, last but not least, he's going to bring it home for us, and that is Black Man Unfiltered. Woo! All right, brother. I thank you for all your patience, being here, rocking with me today. I want you to take your time to break down what you want to say before we end. And I want you also to remember, let people know who the hell you are. God damn it, do you know who I am? I know y'all like when I say that. God damn it, do you know who I am? No. But no, take the time to let people know who you are slowly, because I want people to subscribe to your channel. Obviously, I'm going to put the description of your channel in this video, just like everyone else. But come on, man, and bring it on home for us, Black Man Unfiltered.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think that we're in a season where we're in danger. I know that self-deletion happens on both sides of the world. It happens on the men's side and the women's side, but by the stats and the statistics, it happens more with us. It happens with our young men, our middle-aged men, and sometimes even our older men get to a point where they have to leave. I was sitting and reading a story of, I know you guys shop a lot, you ladies and guys out there, and I know you're familiar with a company called Bed Bath & Beyond. At Bed Bath & Beyond, Arnel Gustavo was the CEO of Bed Bath & Beyond. He went to New York to the Tribeca skyscraper, and he jumped.
Oh, my God.
He is no longer with us. He self-deleted. And I was looking at his worth here. The man was worth $783 million. $783 million, and he leaves all of that to his wife and his children. He got up one day and decided $700 million is not enough. To live is not enough. To have 5 children is not enough. To have a daughter who is in Harvard is not enough. To have a wife who's an ex-doctor is not enough. To have a mansion on 400 acres of land is not enough. It's not enough. Something I need to get out of here. And so it doesn't matter. I said that to say this. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter what kind of car you drive. It doesn't matter if you're a 6-figure man or you're a man that just can't figure. It doesn't matter. Men are self-deleting.
Tell the truth.
At a high rate more than anybody. If you look at the stats and you read a little bit, you understand that they're doing it more than black women, Hispanic men, and white men and women combined. Black men are headed out of here. They're tired. They don't want to deal with the heartbreak anymore. They don't have anybody they can talk to. They've given their vulnerability to so many people that they would rather jump off than to jump in a relationship with someone else to try to share what they have going on, what's going on in their hearts, what's going on in their minds, what's going on in their lives. And so the men are willing to check out than to check in with their homeboy, check out or check in with their wife, check out or check in with their coworkers. They're willing to just check out. And so what I'm asking for people to do today is just love the women, especially. Let me talk to my sisters here. That man needs you. That man needs you to love him. That man needs the most important thing you can do for a man, because a man is very stressful and he'll have bad days. And what's happening in our community, in the black community, is black women have gotten to the point we're so independent. Our jobs come before you, and I make more money than you, and so you don't have a right to make a mistake with me. And if you do make a mistake with me, your ass is out the door. What we need to do is come to a compromise to understand, women, that it does not matter how much money you make, you have a place. And your place is to help to that man. And we have to understand this, and excuse my French here. If you're married out there and you telling your homegirls your man ain't shit and he's going through a stressful and depressing time, he ain't shit, well, you ain't shit either. Because biblically, it says that a man is the head, a wife is his help. So if your man is down on his luck and he ain't got shit, and you supposed to help him get shit, and you're talking about he ain't shit, then you ain't shit, because you ain't shit together, because the Bible says you are one. You are becoming one in those vows that you took. So if you out here right now and have a man that's stressed out, he's not showing you no signs, let me paint a picture real quick, and then I'll go ahead and shut this coffin and reel it down in the 6-foot hole here. If you got a man tonight, think about the man that you're talking to tonight. That some woman that's probably watching this later or right now probably got a man today that you said F you to today, or you ain't nothing, or you a BA nigga, you ain't nothing. Get out my face. I wish you
Tell the truth.
I wish you wasn't the father of my children. I wish you wasn't my husband. I wish 10 years ago when I met you, I would have went the other way. But I want you to close your eyes right now and imagine waking up in the morning and looking over to your right, and he self-deleted himself while you were sleeping peacefully. You put yourself in a heavenly sleep and put him in a hell where he took his own life. We need to start appreciating the people that we have.
Wow.
So just think about if you wake up tomorrow and he's no longer there, or the police knocks at your door and say, Miss Johnson, your husband jumped off the tower today. Your husband jumped into the river today. Your husband drove his car off a cliff today in California.
Right. Let me just say this, because we had a young lady, Dean Cole, came in and said, don't stereotype all women. Let me just say this. Black Men Unfiltered is not stereotyping all women, but there are certainly women that are doing the things that he is talking about. Let's not be in denial here. Let's not be on this little everybody. See, this is the problem.
Yep, exactly.
Why can't we have an honest conversation without everybody getting in their damn feelings? Exactly. The bottom line is we do have some women out here that are doing exactly what Black Men Unfiltered is talking about. And we also have some men out here that are musty, dusty, and crusty. And ain't doing what they supposed to do. So it goes both sides. We're talking about black men that are deleting themselves. And there are ramifications.
Absolutely.
We just had a guy on this panel that said that he went under some abuse in a relationship. So abuse happens where men are abusing women, and there are situations where women have abused men.
Exactly.
Now I'm not going to get into numbers here. We know that certainly women are being abused, and we know certainly that not all women are doing certain things that we deem as a negative behavior. But the brother is basically saying that we've been saying earlier today, we've got to work in cohesion with one another, in balance. And it is a fact that men and women were built to do different things. That's a damn fact. See, the problem with us Black Men Unfiltered and living in America is that America has sold us false wolf tickets. That false wolf tickets is that women can do everything that men can do, and no, that is not true. Women do not have the strength that we have physically. They don't have the muscular strength that we have. And damn it, there are jobs that men do to build this country that women don't want to do. Let me see how many women, I'm not trying to be disrespectful here, but when you look at jobs like coal mining, going into deep surface places, women don't want to do them damn jobs.
Exactly.
Men are doing those jobs and dying doing it, just like we're dying and deleting us. So what I'm saying to you, this goes back to the question of the depression and the suicidal stuff, right?
Right.
We forget, goes back to, does anyone really care about men? We fail to understand that men, and I'm not saying that women don't do tough jobs, raising kids, or women that work in, there's women that work in construction, there's women that do these physical labor jobs, there's women that are firemen, police. I get all of that. I'm not negating that. But certainly there are jobs that men are doing the most in this society and are dangerous jobs. There are men in this world that are told to get up on stuff that they could literally die doing.
Yeah.
And you think that that doesn't play into their mental health as well?
Yeah.
When they're engaging in dangerous work? I'm not saying that women don't do any kind of work that's stressful either. But this goes back to the fact that we, as a society, we fail to recognize what would drive a man to take his life. There are things that men deal with that women do not deal with. I'm sorry, you do not. And there are things that women deal with that we don't deal with as men. But certainly as men, we're under a lot of pressure. We are taught very early to suck in our feelings. Yeah. Don't show emotions. Be tough. We're taught very early that you must be the provider, the breadwinner, and the protector. When a prowler knocks in the door at the night of the night of the night of the night of the night in your house, who is supposed to get out of their damn bed, Black Men Unfiltered, and go check who the prowler is?
Exactly. And
the man, damn it. And the man could die protecting his own family. If there is a prowler, he's there to protect you, woman, and protect the children. And he will die doing so.
Exactly. And that very man that you said ain't shit will go down and deal with this shit for you. Even though you treat him like shit. So I'm gonna say this, and like I said again, I'm gonna reel this thing in and lower the casket.
I'm sorry, I went off to a tangent there, but I just had to say that
because I love when you do that, because it's informational. Because people will always say that. Listen, we're having a problem in the community with Black men deleting themselves. Well, you can't say that about all Black men. We're not saying all Black men because we're here. We're saying that some Black men deal with self-delete every day.
Right.
They get up in the morning like, damn, I woke up again. Every day, and you rolling over, good morning, baby. And in his head, he's saying, I don't want to be here. But I'll say this, and I'm gonna land the plane here. I'm gonna land the plane. I know a lot of people are not religious. I know a lot of people don't pray, but I really want to give the men something. If you are religious and if you feel as if, you're at the end of your rope and you feel like you have nowhere else to go, nobody to call on, I really want you to listen to what I'm saying. Go back and watch this, write down what I'm saying, and say this to yourself every day when you get into these modes of not wanting to wake up or wanting to delete yourself. I want you to say, dear Lord, today, dehydrate all my doubts, nourish all my ideas, feed my dreams, starve my insecurities, and prepare a table in front of my enemies. Let me say it one more time. Dear Lord, today, dehydrate all my doubts, nourish my ideas, feed my dreams, starve my insecurities, and prepare a table in front of my enemies.
Right.
And so, and I'll say that in closing, guys, make sure you do something. I always say this, information man, and I'm so passionate about it because it's so real. Guys, do something nice for someone. You never know whose life you may change. Do something. I was at the store today, and the lady behind me, I paid for her groceries. Right? I don't know what that did for her. I don't know what situation she was in, but I was led to do that. Do something nice for someone. And if you're a recluse and you're stuck in your house every damn day, do something nice for yourself, because self-care is the best care. And surround yourself with people that will be there for you, that will pour into you, that will connect to you, because there's nothing worse than being in a bad storm and losing your connection to Wi-Fi to make an emergency call.
Facts.
God
Facts. Facts.
Tell the truth.
And let me just say this again. Let me just say this again. We certainly know that not all women, I want to say to Adina Cole, because she's a follower of the channel and I have respect for her. We certainly understand that not all women put money above their man, but there are certainly women and men who put money above their mate. And that's a damn fact. Cannot be disputed. So that's all we're really saying is that we know that there's a fine line between that. We have those that are out there doing it. But once again, Black Men Unfiltered, let me give you a clap. Thank you for coming on board, brother. I'll catch you over on your channel. Remind everybody where they can find you again.
Absolutely. Black Men Unfiltered Network would love to have you guys come over. We have everything you want to talk about over there. We talk about we're not over here talking about just relationships every stream. We're talking about relationships. We're talking about self-deletion, like things that we're talking about today. We're talking about what goes on in this house stays in this house. We're talking about kids that who go through molestation and mom knows, daddy knows, nobody says anything. We talk about school, education. We talk about life, money. So anything that you want to go back and watch any of those videos, please do so. We have a good time. We also laugh and have a great time as well. So you'll get a bit of all. You'll be over there. You'll have your emotional roller coaster with us for sure. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you may be upset about some things, but we'll bring it all the way back around and show you that we love you. We care about your Black Men Unfiltered Network. Subscribe, go like, subscribe today, please. I appreciate it.
Right. Yeah. Good point. Sir A. Jones. Let her watch the whole thing from the beginning, but I think she's been watching. I just think that I know it's a sensitive topic, and we don't want to put everybody and stereotype everybody and put them in this one bag. But I don't think that's what brother Black Man Unfiltered is trying to do.
Not at all.
But if we're gonna have these kind of conversations, we have to be honest about it, and we're gonna have to deal with things that are not what we really want to hear a lot of the times, because there is some truth in some of the things that we don't want to hear all the time. And on this channel, I pride myself on letting people express different points of view. Even if I don't agree with it, I want to hear different points of views and things of that nature. Long as people bring their points of views in and they're respectful about it. So once again, brothers, I want to say thank you. I'm going to take over the screen here. I want to say thank you for coming on board again. We'll do it again. I'll be over in your channel, Black Men Unfiltered. You got to check him out. He does so many different topics. If you like what we were talking about tonight, you haven't seen anything, because they talk about many different topics on his channel, and check them out. I will, once again, ladies and gentlemen, put a description of the guys' channels in this video. When I get an opportunity to do so, I will put it in there so that you can just go down in the description box and go click into all these brothers' channels, subscribe, and check them out at your own leisure. Real Aaron Collins, thank you for being here. Black David, thank you for being here again. We're going to get on out of here. You brothers have a great rest of your evening, your night. Great. Be safe coming into this week. I know the holidays with Christmas is coming around. Make sure you tell someone that you love them, because you never know what can happen tomorrow. We're never promised the next day. So if you got someone that you love, tell them you love them. If you got someone in your family or a friend that you had a little bit of a falling out, but you think you can mend it, go and tell them how you really feel, to mend that situation so that they don't pass away and you say, damn, I wish I would have said A, B, and C to them because you holding some goofy grudge for some goofy reason. Okay? So everybody take care of yourself. Peace. Peace, everybody. Great show tonight. I'm really glad that I came back on a second time after YouTube took the other video down, and I understand why they did now when I had time to think about it. But this video, as you can see, as much as we talked about very sensitive topics, we were able to make it on through and ride the ship out. So everybody, peace to you. Please share this video. It's very important. This topic is a topic that should have had gazillions of people over here, but we know that it's a topic that people really don't want to deal with. And sometimes we're in denial of it as a people, but it's very important that you share this video on your social media, because this video could be helping someone. I hope it is helping someone out there watching or will watch on the replay. So once again, everybody, I'll be back. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I got to make this announcement. I'm probably going to broadcast a few times during this week, because there's a couple of topics that I want to touch on. And it will be very short videos that I'll go live on. So be on the lookout for me to possibly go live on this platform this upcoming week, maybe once or twice. And then, of course, you've got the Information Man Speaks podcast, where I go live during the week on that channel briefly. So be on the lookout for some content over there and over here again during the week, hopefully, if all goes well in my schedule. So you all take care. And I respect everybody in that chat room that's been watching and rocking with us all day. Take care, everybody. Peace.
You are listening to Information Man. Please
Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Tell the truth. 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 Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you.
tell the truth.